You know what? We should do that, man. We should make that a tradition of the Hot Tag Podcast. Every wrestler that we get on the show, we should ask them why they're fascinated by shit.
Where was I? I got lost.
Oh, you're talking about drugs.
Oh, Ric Flair. A ladder match, not to grab a title, not to grab a contract, but to grab a duck.
Yeah, there you go. See, that's good.
Why is that good, though? Why? Why? I need to know why.
Fire on a pole. That is smart. There you go.
Fucking prick. He has one fucking move. What's up with that?
Can't be traced back to that goddamn company.
Was this the first time that Ric Flair was on TV?
If I remember correctly, it was October of '98. I don't remember.
Oh, don't even say that, man. How the fuck do you know that?
Yeah, September 14th, 1998. Yeah.
I want Ivory to suck me off.
I don't know what you've been doing for the last 40 years of your life, dude. What do you mean? What the fuck have you been doing?
Drinking?
All right. That explains your love for beer and shotguns.
Yeah, suck it. Fuck you. This bullshit. Fuck you. Fuck you.
WCW for you, man. Botching, shooting, not literally like Chirac Chicago shooting, you know, like wrestling shooting.
Do you want to high spot some pussy and then hashtag beat up Johnson?
Sit the fuck down. You understand me? Sit the fuck down.
Tommy loves my Nicole Bass.
Don't you, Tommy?
Suck my left dick. Suck my left nut, you bitches. Suck it.
Why are you out of breath, man? What are you eating off before you call in? What the fuck are you doing?
No, because I was running to get this damn coffee. Don't worry.
John Cena tries to do a Hurricane Rana and almost kills himself.
The champ is here!
I just threw up in my mouth a little bit.
Sit the fuck down. You understand me? Sit the fuck down. WWE. Fuck you, mother. Fuck you. Can't be traced back to that goddamn company. This really pissed me off because it is bullshit. Vince Russo, of all people, Vince Russo is full of shit. Suck my left dick. Suck my left nut, you bitches. Suck it. Yeah, suck it.
THT Podcast, live Wednesdays, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time, right here on Mixlr.com/THT Podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, YouTube, and TuneIn Radio.
That's right. What he said. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn Radio, YouTube, all them fucking places. What's going on, everybody? It's Wednesday motherfucking night. And you got me right now. You got Boxman. That's it. Lonely Boxman. But it's cool. It's cool. I'm going to talk a little Raw for a while until either Anthony or Shaheen may call in. I know he's having some issues with some his power tonight. So let's just hope that nothing blows up at Shaheen's house like it did when I didn't have power. Everybody cross your fingers for that. So I know Anthony's supposed to be calling in soon. He's probably just getting back from work, relaxing for a few minutes. I'm going to talk some Raw. I know in a little while we're going to have Mike Bessler calling in from PWI, Pro Wrestling Illustrated. And in case you're wondering why, unless you've been under a rock as a wrestling fan, then you know the Pro Wrestling PWI 500 came out. So we'll be talking to Mike about that, who's number one, who was last, and who probably should have been higher on the list, because in the top 25, I can see at least 5 or 6 guys that should be higher on this list, just by looking at what I'm looking at, you know. So, you know, we'll be talking with Mike Bessler about that. Matter of fact, give me 1 second here. Not quite sure who that is right there. Whoever's calling in, I cannot add you to the call. Give me 1 second here, everybody. Hold on here. All right. Anyway, hopefully they'll call back, whoever that was. Hopefully it wasn't Anthony. Where were we here? You know what? Real quick, I can go ahead and run down. Give me 1 second here. I got Anthony on the line. I think I do. Anthony!
Hey, what's going on?
There you are. What are you calling on your way home from work there?
Yeah, can you hear me clear?
Yeah, you're fine. I was real quick going to go over the just go over the top 10, even though Mike Bessler is going to be calling. I got some people in the chat room here asking me the top 10 of the PWI 500 right now. So, I can rattle that off real quick before Mike should be calling in about 15, 20 minutes. So, all right, top 10. Let's start with number 10. What do you think, Anthony? Yep. Number 10, the man himself, John Cena. Number 10.
I'm actually surprised he wasn't ranked higher. I mean, I'll be honest. I haven't taken this PWI 5. I haven't taken it serious since WCW and ECW went out of business. I mean, it's very much subjective, and honestly, the list is all about creating controversy at this point.
Yeah, and I was just saying this before you called in. Just in the top 25, I can see 5 to 8 guys that should be way higher on this list, and some that should be way lower. But anyway, number 10 was John Cena. Number 9 is Dean Ambrose.
He's the champion. He should be at least in the top 30. I mean, regardless of what you think of the book, and he's the champion of the biggest company in the world. Yeah. I think he's the recognized champion. The champion, he holds the title with all the history behind it. So he should be at the very least in the top 2 or 3.
Yeah, definitely should be a little higher on this list. Number 8 is Seth Rollins. He was out most of the year, but he has had a damn good year since he's come back. So what are you going to do? That one I kind of agree with, right where it is.
Now, I ain't going to cut you off, Box. Real quick, what was the cutoff point for voting?
I don't know. You got me, dude.
Oh,
I don't know any of that shit. I just know one day I wake up and it's on my feed that it's out.
With that said, number
7, Shinsuke Nakamura.
I don't know what you're saying. I mean, I'm a fan of the guy's work, but once again, he's a guy that the majority don't know. Like I said, unless you're like a diehard wrestling fan, you're not going to know who the fuck that is. Why is he in the top 10? I mean, once again, that's why this list is kind of, like I said, it's very much subjective. It almost reminds me of like Meltzer's list. You know, when he does his little rankings of 18-star matches, it's always people that the masses hardly even fucking know who they are.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those lists that it's like a friggin' high school popularity list sometimes, but I don't know. Anyway, we got number 6 is Kevin Owens. Should be higher.
I guess he should be in the top 10.
Well, he is.
I know we didn't get to his name yet, but if you had to choose, in your opinion, who was more the MVP for WWE this year so far, Owens or AJ?
Owens has been there the whole year. AJ hasn't. So you got to put that into, kind of into the equation, in my opinion. Obviously, they don't think so. Obviously, they're not thinking that way. But, Owens has been there the whole year. But when AJ was out, he did have a hell of a buzz over at New Japan. So, yeah, I guess you could put him higher than Kevin Owens. So, yeah, I guess AJ's technically had a better year.
Yeah, but Owens has been killing it. And like I said, depending on, I don't know when the cutoff point for this list was, you got to take that into account, too.
Yeah.
Because there was a period of a few months where Owens really, I like him, but it was a period of a couple months there where he really wasn't doing much of anything of note.
Yeah, you're right. 610 area code. Who I got there?
Man, it's Shaheen.
Oh.
I'm reporting live from the goddamn car.
Reporting from the car. Yeah.
Dude, I'm so fucking pissed. I'm so fucking pissed. But Boxman, I called in. I'm on for a few minutes, and then I'm going to let the phone charge and call back in like 5 or 10 minutes.
All right. Yeah, I know Mike Bessler is going to call in, 10 minutes about that?
Yeah. Maybe I should try to call in then.
All right.
Try to save the battery.
Okay. Go ahead then, man.
All right. I'm at 2%. I'll wait till it gets to like 10 or 15 and call back.
All right. Yeah. So Shaheen has to charge his phone, if that reminds anybody of anybody.
Oh,
all right.
Yeah, I'm going old school. I'm going Kevin Castle.
All right, Kev.
I'll have to call him.
All right, Kev. We'll talk to you in a little bit. Charge that puppy.
All right, Kev.
Bye.
Later. All right, yeah.
Actually, he's going old school Anthony Priest type days.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. All right, so where were we at here? We were at Kevin Owens. Number 5, Jay Lethal.
I like Lethal, but he has no business in the top 10. I'm sorry. Ring of Honor is barely a blip, barely a pimple on Vince McMahon's ass. I like Jay Lethal personally. Met him a few times. He's a cool guy. But I don't think he has any business in the top 10.
All right. Well, we're at number 4 now. Number 4 is AJ Styles, who we just talked about a little while ago. And probably rightfully so where he is. Number 3 is Finn Balor. So, he was 28th last year. He's 3 this year. Big fucking jump, man. Big jump. AJ was number 3 last year. He's number 4.
He said Finn Balor was number 4.
Yeah, so he jumped up. Number 2 is, I will not pronounce your first name, Okada. And number 1 is pretty controversial with everybody. Number 1's Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns is number 1. I don't even know where to start. Roman Reigns is number 1 right now on PWI 500 list. I know Shaheen's going to bring up, well, goddamn, the fucking Miz was number 1 year, but, just absolutely ridiculous. Are you?
Boxman.
Yeah. You there? Yo. Anthony. Okay. Not quite sure what happened with Anthony there. But Anthony is now gone. He'll call back when he can. Roman Reigns was number 4 last year, which, even that started pissing people off back then at number 4. But, what are you going to do? Has Roman Reigns technically had a good year? Technically, yeah. He probably has.
Yeah.
His bank account, I'm sure, is smiling happy. But just I hate to feel like I'm defending the guy, but just because no one wanted him to be champion doesn't mean it wasn't a successful run. Company-wise. You know what I mean? So.
People like the guy.
Yeah. So, I don't know. Let's see here. The last, number 500 is a guy I've never heard of. Timmy Lou Retton. Number 500.
No clue.
Never heard of him. Not quite sure if I ever need to.
Well, Box, some people pay to get on this list, so here you go.
Next time I'm paying to get on it. God damn, DJ Z is 169th?
Who's that?
DJ Z?
And TNA. LOL.
Eric Rowan's 150. Wade Barrett even cashed in at 142.
Look, let's be honest.
All right, let's be honest. We just lost Anthony again.
That should tell you right there how seriously you should take this list.
It's. Like you said, this list is kind of just for the old, value of a little bit of controversy, which this list will definitely generate controversy. God damn it, Anthony! What are you driving, in a fucking wind tunnel?
Yeah, something like that.
What? Are you in a Jeep by any chance?
Yeah, I'm being kidnapped.
Okay, in a Jeep it sounds like. Holy shit. I hope you're close to home. That's all I'm gonna say. But yeah, so that's good enough for right now. We should have like I said, Mike Bessler should be calling in. We'll get way more into that in just a few minutes here. But I guess in the meantime, I guess we can talk a little bit of Raw. What do you think, Anthony?
Sure, talk some Raw.
All right. Man, is it loud behind you, whatever you're doing. Of course, Raw starts out, video package of last week, blah, blah, blah. Mick and Stephanie start out in the ring, and of course, Seth Rollins comes down, and Kevin Owens comes down, and of course, they start, fighting, and Stephanie starts yelling at Seth Rollins, suspends Seth Rollins. Mick Foley kind of overrides her, and hey, guess what? Stephanie, when they come back from break, is yelling at Mick Foley. Surprise!
Yeah. Oh, guess what, though? Kevin Owens got a whole 5 minutes.
Yeah, but I mean, Stephanie just can never just take a lump and keep going. She always has to empower the women by yelling at that horrible man.
Yeah, and like I said, we'll get into Stephanie later in terms of her book. But I'll say this, that WWE, this is their way of doing things. They'll throw, I guess, the IWC, even though I hate using that term, they'll throw us a bone every now and then, give you what you want, and then slowly but surely, they'll creep back into the things they want to do. And let's be honest, they gave you your big moment with Kevin Owens, and this week, I'm not trying to be overly negative, but you felt like an afterthought by the end of the show. You honestly did.
Yeah. I mean, they kind of cock tease you a little bit, give you a little bit, then they take it away, But
yeah, I mean, I just wanted to throw this out there. What did you think about them kind of just casually throwing out Sami Zayn out there as his first opponent, the champion? You think they should have made like a bigger deal of it? Maybe do a deal where Owens makes him jump through hoops, and technically their last match is supposed to be their final battle, and maybe have him win the Rumble or something. He got to win the Royal Rumble to get a match with him again or something. Well, as opposed to throwing it out there, because they really didn't hype it up. The match itself was delivered,
But you see, this is going to be the problem. They found something that works. Now what they're going to do, it's going to be their go-to, we need to, let's put a match here. Oh, I know a good match that always works. That darn Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn match. They do all kinds of flippity moves. Yeah. I mean, it's basically going to be their, back to the well one more time. Let's see how many times we can get away with it. I mean, we've already got T-shirts that say "Fight Forever," so it's going to be their.
So basically, go out there and give us 15 good minutes.
Yep. Go out there and sell some T-shirts, boys. Go sell some T-shirts. So that's pretty much it. Then we got into, and Jericho once again. Goddamn Jericho, you're a fucking great man.
I'll tell you this much. I don't know about you, Box. I can't speak for anybody else, but Jericho, he's gonna be one of those guys, kind of like when decides to hang out finally, that you're really gonna look back and say, "Man, they really did add a lot."
Yeah,
I think Jericho's gonna be that list.
Yeah, I mean, no matter how much you don't like Jericho, you got it. The guy is good at what he does. He's entertaining as hell. And I mean, come on, right now this might be one of his best runs ever in WWE that I remember. Yep, starting to lose you again, but yeah, I mean, this might be one of Jericho's best runs yet in WWE. So thank God for that. And what the fuck, Anthony? God damn. Then we go to Bayley against Charlotte. Very weird, but Bayley did defeat Charlotte in that match. Not a bad match. These women's matches are definitely getting better and better each week. They're getting more time each week. Then we had a returning Bo Dallas going out against a jobber, as we say, Kyle Roberts. Short squash match. Dallas goes out there and kind of crushes them with the kind of version of the Crossroads move. Looked kind of weird to me. Seth Rollins then defeated Chris Jericho. Owens was, of course, backstage watching. Then we had the Best of 7 series with Sheamus, where he beat Cesaro. Now, I did get a breaking news from my WWE network today that Cesaro did win when he was over in London. So Cesaro did win a match over there. So we'll see what happens with that. And unknown caller, who we got?
This is Mike. I think I'm your guest for this segment.
Mike Bessler. What's going on, bro?
That's pretty exciting, isn't it?
Hey, better than me sitting here talking by myself. Who the hell wants to hear that?
Is that what's going on tonight?
I had Anthony on the phone, but when Anthony calls sometimes, it sounds like he's calling from an actual hangar of an airport. so...
And what about your co-host?
Shaheen's got no power at his house right now.
Oh, my gosh.
THT is doomed. we have a problem.
Well, let me just say this.
Yes.
With my call into you in advance, you're welcome for saving the show.
Thank you, sir, for saving the show. Those of you who don't know, this is Mike Bessler of the famed Pro Wrestling Illustrated magazine. So, and we are here, obviously. We went over the top 10 already, Mike. People in the chat were asking me to go over the top 10. Obviously, number 1 is controversial, to say the least.
Yeah, and it so... Well, let me start with
wherever you
with this.
Okay.
So I'm actually part of the panel when you open up this month's issue. I think you'll find my name somewhere in there.
Oh, shit.
As one of the folks who was on the panel. And this is, I think, maybe the 4th or 5th year that I've been part of the panel, which is really, really cool, to go from, I probably said this last year, but to go from sitting on the floor at the county market in Lexington, Kentucky as a kid and looking at the magazine to being one of a handful of people who work on these rankings every year is just the kind of thing that I've got to ask myself sometimes, did that really happen? Is this really happening right now? And it's not.
How do I word this so I'm not going to get a bunch of hate mail tomorrow?
Well, I'll say first of all, I like Roman Reigns. There's a few things I want to say without sounding preachy. I think one of the most important things about this list, and first of all, it's a deal in the industry. A lot of people look to this, I think, at the very least for entertainment and discussion value. A lot of the guys in the independents who make it, especially if this is the first time they've been in, look at it as a really big deal, as a career milestone. Yeah. So we do take it seriously. It's supposed to be fun too. It's supposed to be part of the sport and the experience of, kind of involving yourself as a reader, as a fan into it. And most people are going to look at this list and say, I would have done this or that differently. And that's just as true for the handful of us who work on this, who collaborate on this. There I am. My name's on page 13 as one of the committee.
All right.
That's a shameless plug. And I'll say, I don't want to pull the curtain back too far, but I wouldn't have picked Roman Reigns, and I don't think anybody would at the magazine, the publisher included, would have a problem with me saying that. There was some robust discussion. If anybody out there is interested, my personal favorite would have been Finn Balor. for number one. And I think, you know, in the discussion, and there is quite a bit of discussion that goes into this. I said I think that he had, you know, more consistent and a better year. I think that it would have been nice to kind of look at NXT as this kind of important incarnation in the wrestling business, and say so many people have thought that he is one of the best, if not the best, for a long time. Let's make it official. There is a heavy kayfabe facet to this, but there are also criteria, and this is the thing when I said earlier, and let me know, Boxman, if you want me to stop, so if you want me to take a deep breath or get a word in edgewise. But a lot of times, especially since we've been publishing it in digital format, what hits the internet is the list. And it's easy to lose sight of the fact that this is the PWI 500 now spans the bulk of the magazine for that issue. You know what I mean? So it's a feature with the first 10 guys get a full page spread. Roman, I think, he got a couple extra pages in there just by virtue of being number one. There's a short interview with him and things like that. First 10 guys get one page, and then, you know, all the other folks get blurbs, and it says why they got it, why they got the ranking. And our criteria are in that the forward to this too: win-loss record, technical ability, influence on the sport, success against the highest grade of competition. You know, that's a kayfabe category. Success against the most diverse competition, that's a kayfabe category. And activity, kind of a very general category there. So there's a lot more that goes into it than just a list of 500 names on a couple of pages.
Right. Now, with all that being said, have you gotten a lot of feedback? Why wasn't AJ Styles number one?
I think that's one of them. That's probably been, a lot of the reaction to it was on Twitter. A lot of the reaction that I saw, and I think that was probably one of the most often asked questions, especially given New Japan stuff. I'm trying to think. I don't have this list.
I do.
Yeah, he's number 4.
He's number 4. Yeah, he dropped down 1 from last year.
Yeah, I mean, and again, I write about this stuff, but I'm a fan too. I absolutely love AJ Styles. I wouldn't have had a problem with that. He was number 1. It's been several years ago now. I could be wrong, but I think it was maybe 2009. It was the year before the Miz got number 1.
Let me see here. Give me a second. I'll tell you in just a second.
So I think so. But yeah, I think that would have been. I think that would have been okay too. My concern, again, I don't mean to keep saying this, but not to pull the curtain back too far, but we're having these meetings, and then I can't remember when Reigns' suspension happened relative to when this discussion started, and you have to kind of look at a couple things like, well, the magazine or the list is going to come out shortly after Roman comes back from suspension. Is he going to still be the top guy? Yeah, we've got this grading period. And I don't know, did you guys talk about what the grading period actually is for this list?
No, we hadn't actually. I mean, we've only been on for about 20 minutes, so.
Oh, okay. It's a really important piece of the context here. The evaluation period runs from July 1st, 2015 through July 30th, 2016. Okay. So we're looking at those things I talked about: win-loss record, success against highest graded competition, for then. And I can't think off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure there are a couple of examples even in the last few years where somebody has a really huge match, and we're talking about it in like July. Somebody has a really huge match that week, and we're like, oh yeah, this guy's really hot, and then it's like, yeah, but the evaluation period ends June 30th, so that's something we're going to have to look at next year. It's kind of like the Oscars, you know, or any kind of award thing. It's like you could watch it and go, why is it this or that in there? Well, they're going to have to look at that next year. And you think about it, it's like, so we're talking about this in 12 months. Is something that just seems like a big deal right now in July going to mean as much 12 months later? It's a difficult balance. It's kind of fun. And I think a lot of folks always, you know, they have the urge to put their own list out or whatever and stuff like that. The challenge becomes, what are you going to consider? What are your criteria? And I honestly think, I don't know about you, and I'm curious even to hear maybe some of the guys in the chat room have some thoughts about it, but without taking some kayfabe stuff into account, what is the list? Is it just based on athletic ability? It becomes even more subjective, I think, when you take the storytelling and stuff out of it. And you really have to, like, and we even have this conversation with ourselves. Well, you know, it's not that often, but it's like, well, are you just saying this because you like the guy and you like his style? What else are we going to look at here? So I think we come pretty close to, I think as close as possible, and I know I'm a little biased, to putting together a really, really good list. Yeah, there's some stuff missing in there, and it's the kind of thing that when stuff comes to print, there's always this or that, as something slipped through or whatever. Like I realized right away, well, thanks to folks on Twitter, that I inaccurately said that AR Fox was Killshot, and it's actually Shane Strickland.
Yeah.
Both of them were really nice about it. I apologize to both of them, and they seem to appreciate that. But that's something that readers don't let go easily, and I get that. I get that because nobody likes making mistakes, and I think Shaheen's name was like pretty sufficiently butchered in the last issue when he got his first photo credit. It was like Shagun or something like that. So
Shogun, who's the master?
It was something like that. But at the same time, I was like, I told him, he's like, I don't care. So I mean, some people think it's a bigger deal than others.
I imagine his reaction was, did you spell the hot tag right? That's all he cares about. So. Yeah. Real quick to go back, it was 2010 when AJ was #1 that year.
Yeah.
You know, it's funny. You know, you say win-loss record, because a lot of people online say that, oh, it doesn't matter, it means nothing. I guess it does mean something to someone. So, but that's kind of putting in the storyline. That's why this list. I don't think you could ever make anyone happy with this PWI 500, to be honest with you.
I think that the guys who really, the senior writers in particular who have been around, have pretty thick skins, and I think they realize that, and they're cool about it. Like for me, I'm like, I don't want to look at Twitter today.
Yeah.
And I do think, and this is going to be me kind of sounding like a jerk a little bit, but it's one of the things that took me a while to get used to. And I'm a fairly critical guy too. I got into writing about wrestling by criticizing PWI. It was the weirdest thing ever. The publisher saw a critique that I had written about the magazine and said, "You can write. Why don't you come write for us?" It's like an indie guy saying that they don't want to go to WWE. It's cool when you're on the outside to criticize it, but that's the call you wait for as a writer. Like, yes, I want to do that. So they've got a little thicker skins about it, but I always find it funny. Like usually this time every year, you get somebody who's like, come to my site and read part 1 of my 3-part series on why the PWI 500 is irrelevant. So you're going to write a 3-part series on, obviously this means something to you if you're going to devote that much time and energy to saying why it's not relevant. So I think that we still, I think we still have a pretty important voice, and a lot of that's because we have a lot of dedicated readers. People who have been with the magazine for a long time, people who have just discovered it, through their enthusiasm for wrestling, and that's really neat. And it's cool that people are still talking about it.
Yeah, I mean, look, since this thing came out, it's really what people are talking about. I mean, that's the main news this week is, PWI 500, Roman Reigns is #1. So that is good. But I do see a few people though on this list that in my personal opinion, I would have put higher. EC3, in my opinion, shouldn't have been 20. He should have been way up in the top 10 at least. I mean, he's had a great fucking year over at TNA. And I was going to say Matt Hardy, but you just told me this list runs from last year to July, and he's just picking up steam, last few months. So I'll shut the fuck up about that one. But, I mean, there are a few more guys here. Some of them, in my opinion, should be higher. Some of my opinion should be lower. Sheamus shouldn't have a teen next to his name at all.
well, here, and I would be more than happy to have that conversation, and I will here and I'll answer that criticism in just a second. But I do want to say, if you look at the top 20, at some of the guys in there, Drew Galloway at 11, and Samoa Joe at 14, Ricochet, Will Ospreay. I mean, to have those guys in the top 20, and not a lot of TNA guys, because TNA is occupying a different spot in the business now. I hate to keep using terms like the industry and the business because I think they're overused, but I think in this context where we're looking at things on a global perspective, you have to talk that way. So I don't want to sound all huffy doing that, because sometimes sometimes you might have like an indie guy who's might be on his third match talk about in this industry and things like that. I don't mean to sound like that guy. But it is this. You look at it like this. Yeah, we're talking about the industry. These guys, to have them up this high, and I would hope that a lot of people would agree with that. With some of those calls this year, the NXT and some of the big name indie guys, because these guys deserve it. These guys deserve the recognition. Roderick Strong at number 13. How cool is that?
Jumped 49 spots from last year. Yeah.
So let's read the entry for Sheamus if you haven't done that already. Celtic Warrior captured his 4th WWE World title at Survivor Series, cashing in Money in the Bank. Title shot 5 minutes after Reigns won the belt. Held the belt just 3 weeks, received some mainstream attention. I didn't write this. I'm sorry. I just saw the last part. Received some mainstream attention for a role in the latest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. I don't think that figured in. That's just really funny. Whoever wrote that, it's either Dan Murphy or Al Castle, is probably going to totally give me some grief for laughing about that. I totally had not seen that till just now. That just jumps out at me as funny.
Well, natural reaction, I guess.
Here's the thing. You do have to give some recognition that WWE is far and away the top tier of the business.
Absolutely.
Just absolutely running away with it. So for somebody to get, you can call it a prop any other day of the week, but when you're talking about achievements and the fact that they put that prop that represents that company on this guy, it's got to count for something.
Yeah.
And again, I'm talking kayfabe.
Hello.
If you're not figuring in kayfabe, then you could maybe do a different list. And I don't say that in a crappy way. It would just be a different list without that kind of consideration. So is Sheamus ranked a little high? I mean, if I was writing this list and looking at all the criteria and stuff like that, I might have put him somewhere else. I can't remember where I fell in that discussion. It doesn't discredit the entire list to me. And I think EC3 at number 20, some of that has to do with TNA's place in the business. He's pretty high. I would have to look last year at because I want to say because TNA was in
he was EC3 was
real disarray last year.
He was number 30 last year.
I think that I can't remember where the first TNA guy actually cracked the 500 last year, but it might have been lower than 20. I'm talking off the top of my head, but I think I'm right about that.
Yeah, I won't be able to look that one up. But
I'm just thinking. I mean, a lot of guys are, and that's the thing. There are a lot of guys who can commit this stuff to memory. I think you might even have a caller or two that's just really good with that encyclopedic knowledge of this stuff. And I'm not that guy, but I'm thinking about our conversations last year, and I think that the TNA really kind of, just because they were in such dire straits with all the switching around and stuff like that.
I mean, and honestly, in the top 25, you've got a good 1, 2, 3. You got about 4 or 5 TNA guys, and some ROH guys.
Yeah.
I mean, Jay Lethal, number 5, nice.
Yeah, I mean and I think that was one of those where it's like, yeah, he's got to be up there. We had that conversation, like he's got to be up there with these guys. So yeah, you've got a top guy in Ring of Honor, head and shoulders above TNA's top guy. That says something about how much the business has changed over the last 2-3 years. Wouldn't you, that things have really kind of gone the direction of NXT and Ring of Honor? You know, you remember how hot they were a few years ago, and then that kind of died down. Maybe withdrew a little bit, some of the mainstream attention, and now they've just got that kind of solid rep again, and some of their top guys are just performing above and beyond. I went to a Ring of Honor show in Columbus, Ohio, a couple months ago, and was in the front row, and it just absolutely blew my mind. What a spectacular show that was.
Nice.
There's no pyro. There's not a lot of, real flashy stuff. It was just solid showmanship, and Lethal was on the card, and Briscoes were there. Rao and War Machine took on the Addiction. I mean, there was not a bad match on the card. So these guys deserve this kind of recognition.
Yeah, definitely. But I mean, like I said, there's a lot of people on here that I would personally go higher or lower on, but the Miz at 22. Oh man, what are you doing? I'm just kidding.
Let's read it. Let's read the black and white here.
Spent half the year shooting a movie, the other half banging his wife.
This out loud. Maybe you should come write for PWI. We'll switch. I'll do the podcast.
I don't think you want me writing. I'd be fired relatively quick for my voice. So,
on-screen reunion with his wife Maurice, delusional Hollywood A-lister character, breathed new life into the world champion's career, won his 5th Intercontinental title from Zack Ryder in April, won a 4-way Intercontinental title match at Extreme Rules that is considered one of 2016's best matches. So there you go. Shut your mouth, Boxman.
All right. On that note, we got Anthony on the line. Anthony, you say something now.
What's going on? What's going on, Box? What's going on, Mike? Hope you guys can hear me better.
Yeah, much better, man. Appreciate that.
I apologize to you and the callers.
I have a feeling that if you were on your front porch talking through a paper cup, I could probably hear you. When you want to be heard, you're an easy man to hear.
He does have a point there. He definitely does have a point. So, Anthony, me and you were going over the top 10 of this list. You got any questions for Mike here?
No, not too many questions. As far as who got ranked, I heard you guys going back and forth about the Miz and Sheamus a little bit. Does WWE's placement in the business kind of reflect how high they're up on the list just because of they're out there in the media and the spotlight? People, they would know more about, let's say, a Miz versus a Sensei Nakamura, because even though obviously Nakamura, in the eyes of hardcore wrestling fans, is head and shoulders above the Miz, he's not necessarily worldwide known to the masses, to the general public.
Well, he did play. He did come in at number 7 this year, and I think he is pretty consistently. I think he's been pretty consistently high in our rankings. I'd have to go back and and double check. So I think we've always given, especially some of the top Japanese names, a significant amount of consideration. What I was telling Boxman before you called is I think that it's not so much who was on the Today Show or who had a spot in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's the fact that WWE is the top tier, and it's like you've got a top tier, and then you've got maybe a couple of empty tiers there. That's how big they are, and I think at some level we've got to give some kind of acknowledgement to that. At the same time, I don't want to take anything away from any of the other lists that I've been part of, but this is arguably one of the most diverse top 20, 25 groups, and diverse in terms of where they come from, as far as where they're working right now. Some of the names that I rattled off earlier, especially down into the 20s, with Galloway and Roderick Strong and Ricochet, Will Ospreay, that's a really intriguing blend of people, and that's not something that was intentionally done. Like, let's go ahead and put somebody in from this promotion or that promotion. It's like, okay, who really is best? And in some cases, we actually have gone back and said, okay, well, you've got this guy at number such and such, and then you've got this guy like 10 or 20 down below, but he beat this guy. So, like I was saying earlier, there's some kayfabe in it, and we have to look at it and go, okay, so maybe he moves up a little bit. Maybe they're a little bit closer together in the rankings because they've met and things like that. So, in some contexts, we are still getting together at some level and going, it's still real to us. I hate to overuse that cliche, but what fun would it be without that?
Yeah. Excuse me.
I'll tell you guys real quick too a funny story, and I don't think I've ever told this on any podcast before. But the first year I was ever invited to be part of this, I actually went up to the front office in Philadelphia, and it was it's just so weird to be there, kind of in the PWI office, and I think at the time there was about 8 of us in the room, and we had gone through. I wrote about this in a blog article, too. They actually let me write a little bit about the experience. It's still somewhere online. It was just so weird to be there, part of it. And Brady Hicks, who's not just a fellow writer, but a really good friend of mine, had prepared this 2-page sheet on why Bobby Roode should have been number 1 that year. That was funny. Nobody read it. And he will love that I said that. I'll have to tell him to listen to this tomorrow. But we got to a point, and I mean, we were up. I don't remember where he came that year, but I was really adamant that Austin Aries should be at a certain spot, and I had a list, and I can't remember where it was, and it was really high up, and I was the new guy, so I didn't push too hard, and I had to excuse myself to go to the bathroom, and I was just unfamiliar with this building, and not to give too much information, but I had been on the road for just an ungodly amount of time the day before, so I was gone for like a really long time. And I finally walked back in, and Stu Sachs, the publisher, looks at me and goes, "We honestly thought you had driven back to Ohio because we wouldn't put Aries where you wanted him on the list." That was I'm like, I don't think I was gone for that long.
I was sitting there going, he left. He fucking left.
Guy. It was pretty cool.
That must be awesome.
That's hilarious.
Oh, that's a fucking great story, man. Oh.
And I told Dan Murphy, who's the senior writer, and he writes a lot of these PWI 500 rankings and bios, so send all your complaints to him. He asked me to announce on the podcast that he is single and in the market right now. So to your female listeners,
all two
of them. Ladies, he's free. There you go.
Yes.
You know what? I do have one question from the chat for you, Mike.
Who's it? Tell me who it's from, and then I'll decide if I'm going to answer it.
It's from Billionaire Ted.
I guess.
All right.
You got to pay respect to Billionaire
There
Ted.
you go. He'd like to know if any of the back issues from the 1980s will ever be in digital form.
It would be great, wouldn't it?
Of course it would.
The short answer to that question is I don't know. It's something that we've talked about, and I'm not like a high-ranking official with the magazine. I think this day and age there's certainly the capability to do that. I don't know. Okay. I will. I'm with Billionaire Ted on this. That I think it would be great, and I think a lot of people would love that.
Right.
But shoot, I'm just like anybody else. I'm going to flea markets and comic shows and stuff like that, and looking for the PWI boxes, the long boxes. And I flip through them, and I brag about writing for the magazine now because, that's what you do. And then I buy a handful of, and I do that on eBay too. I don't know about you guys, but I love getting like a big box of PWI back issues or even just wrestling magazines in general off eBay. So right now that's the way to do it. I don't think there's a lot of plans to put the vintage stuff in digital format yet.
Okay. Yeah. So there you go, Billionaire Ted. We don't know. Don't know. But you know what, Mike? I got a question for you. I'm going to ask you to speculate. I'm going to ask you to get in your fast-forward machine, go to next year, around this time. Do you think with TNA's momentum right now, do you expect to see a lot more TNA guys higher up on this list next year? If they keep this momentum going that they have right now? Uh-oh.
I would love to see that happen. I would absolutely love to see that happen. And it's just so hard. I was the TNA stalwart for the magazine for a number of years, and wrote a lot of the TNA features and things like that for the past few years. And and I think your listeners who are TNA fans will know where I'm coming from. It's kind of like, I've lived in all my life. I've lived within 100-mile radius or so of Cincinnati, Ohio, and I've always felt really bad for the diehard Bengals fans because they have such a roller coaster every year, and being a TNA fan is a lot like that. It's like, man, I want it to happen for them, but we've been through a lot, and it's really hard to get to get my hopes up. I think it'd be great. If they did. I don't know if you're going to see like a broken Matt Hardy cracking the top 20 or top 10, but maybe. And I'm curious to know what you guys think, what you and Anthony think about that too. And when you say momentum, what does that mean? Does that mean they're just producing a few good segments here, or is it all around? Is it an all-around improvement in quality?
To me, I think the show is an improved show since Billy Corgan took over. Honestly, since the first Final Deletion, it's been really good. I'll get you in a minute, Anthony. I'm sorry. I know the ratings don't show it, but unfortunately, TNA has the watchers, the live watchers they have. That's it. That's what they got. Be happy with it. They get a spike here and there. Spike, get it? Anyway, they get a...
Not anymore.
That was horrible. They get their spike here and there, but, they need... I think it's an improved show. I think if they can keep doing what they're doing, they've got more than one good storyline. This Jeff and Matt Hardy thing is just becoming hilarious, which is great. In my opinion, Matt Hardy's brilliant at this. This whole, their whole new feud with the Decay is great. They've got EC3 going against Drew Galloway, which is a pretty brutal fucking storyline. I mean, they've got good shit going. The show itself is better. They've got good storylines. They've got a bunch of new women there who are blonde and scantily clad. Come on. That's what I think.
It could happen, and I think years ago, I hate to quote Hulk Hogan on just about anything these days.
Shit!
But
Why do you think
you remember?
get a sound?
You remember years ago when he came out to the center of the ring and talked in the Macho Man voice and said, "Never say never." It really is kind of a mantra that we need to look at as wrestling fans and go, weird things have happened the last few years. Things have turned around in ways we never imagined. So, and the other thing is, Billy Corgan was in a leading role creatively with Revolution Pro, which was a Chicago area. Is a Chicago area promotion, and he was affiliated with them for some time. I think the breakup was a little bitter, and I have never really been 100% clear on what caused that, but some of the stuff that he was bringing to the table there was really cool. And I remember hearing from some people in the business, so some old timers. Now this is back in maybe 2011 or so, when he was first kind of dipping a toe in, that people were really impressed with his vision and felt like he really had a mind for it. So go ahead.
I didn't mean to cut you off, Mike. You say that they were telling you like he had a mind for it. Was it a situation? Do you think they were looking at him like as more of a money mark, or did they honestly believe that he could bring something legitimate to the table?
I think it was creatively. And I did you guys see any of the stuff that he did with Revolution Pro?
I saw some of it.
I saw clips.
Yeah, exactly. I saw some clips. Now, if I'm remembering correctly, he was with that company from the inception of it, and he really was pushing it, got it into some bigger bars than it was already in, I guess. Or
yeah, and they were going to actually have a reality show.
Yeah.
Was that through AMC? Maybe I think it was through AMC.
Yeah.
But one thing, I don't mean to split hairs. I think Revolution Pro was around shortly before he came on, and he was never actually. The owners came out. It's a family-owned promotion, if I'm not mistaken, and came out later and said, well, he was never really one of the owners. He was just there as a creative guy, and like I said, that departure was abrupt, and I think there was some hard feelings, on at least one side of it. I'm actually looking this up as we're not Revolution Pro. I'm sorry, Resistance Pro.
Oh,
Jeez,
you know what? You're right. Yeah, Resistance Pro.
That's
what it was.
Resistance Pro. I'm sorry. Boy, I wish I could go back in time and fix that.
How many fucking promotions are there now? One pops up every week. There's RPW, RPE. Everything has 3 fucking letters now.
And that's where some of my, I don't want to make too many excuses for myself.
Go ahead.
But I can't, I don't know how much we can. I think some of this was disputed, because I'm looking at the Wikipedia page. It has Billy Corgan listed as a founder. That could be true. I like I said, there was some arguing back and forth. It gets a little confusing, but the long and short of it was, some really cool things happened in that promotion. While he was part of it, they still put on shows and do good stuff. They've done good stuff since he left. But it was he brought some decent stuff to the table. So it's not hard to imagine that he could continue to do good things with TNA and this kind of not rebrand them, but establish them in some kind of different capacity than how they're looked at now.
Yeah, I mean, let's, not to, cut any corners here, but they're looked at kind of as a joke right now. They're just, what's it been, 12 years, and they're finally getting some good buzz about them again?
Yeah, I've always had a soft spot for TNA.
Me too.
even when they were kind of down, I was kind of looking like, there's some good here, and the knockouts were really good for a while, and then I mean there was such a kind of a roller coaster ride with women's wrestling there too.
Yeah, and then they brought in that fucking Winter and Angelina Love zombie thing that was gross. And dude, I even was defending the Aces and Eights storyline for a while.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah,
I didn't have a problem with it. I actually bought an Aces and Eights T-shirt. I still wear it.
I had no problem until they started
Anthony,
revealing.
if you're my size, I'll loan it to you.
No, my issue with the whole Aces and TNA was, especially during that time, they always seem to be like 2 steps behind their own ass. WWE has that problem sometimes. Where they'll start an angle off of something that was hot 2 to 3 years prior. It would have been like trying to do a Sopranos angle in 2010.
Oh, and I've said before, at the time that was going on, Eric Bischoff had a reality show of his own called The Devil's Ride. It was almost it was a reality show about fucking bikers that were basically kind of like Aces and Eights. I still say that, yeah, I'm sure it did have, it definitely had shades of Son of Anarchy, but I still say the main reason they did that was because it was more with Eric Bischoff's reality show than anything. But, it was great until they built up every reveal. You're going to love who's going to be. Oh, it's fucking, what the fuck?
D'Lo Brown was a top guy.
D'Lo.
Let's put this in perspective. And I like D'Lo Brown, but come on, man. He was a top guy in the. Come on now.
D'Lo and
I think Devon was probably like the biggest reveal. So that should tell you all you need to know. Devon fucking Dudley was the biggest reveal.
But I don't know. But I still say that, yeah, it did have. I know a lot of people thought it was from it was a Sons of Anarchy ripoff, but Bischoff Hervey. Jason Hervey, they both had a show going on at that time, and I still say that's what they were biting off of.
Wrestling has always tried to tap into pop culture, at least since the 80s, maybe arguably more into the 90s, and now it's just to a fault. Like every T-shirt has to be based, a throwback or an homage or a spoof of something else, and sometimes it goes a little bit too far. But I couldn't fault them too much for trying to tap into some of the interests of the Sons of Anarchy and stuff like that at the time. And it's how many different ways can you do the NWO?
Exactly.
So what's the is there going to be? Are they going to kind of they're going to do some kind of walk? You can even see they're doing some kind of Walking Dead send up now with the WWE zombie action figures.
Yeah.
It's the weirdest thing about wrestling. It's just something that the business does over and over again. Sometimes it's cool, and sometimes it's like really you can't come up with something new.
Yeah, and I wish I could get a guy credit. Somebody came up with a cool collage that I saw about a year or so ago. And they basically said that TNA every year for like a 4 or 5 year stretch did some reiteration of the NWO, whether it was Fortune, whether it was Aces and Eights. And they ran through like the whole process, and it was freaking hilarious.
Oh, they have Fortune, Immortal, Aces and Eights.
I will tell you what, guys, and I will fight anybody who disagrees with me. The Fortune Immortal feud was great.
I loved it.
I loved it.
I did too.
I loved AJ Styles' turn on Immortal, and I actually, it was such a. I'm kind of embarrassed to say it was kind of a mark out moment for me when I interviewed AJ for the magazine, and I'm sitting and at the time I think he was still the number one for the PWI 500 that year, and I'm like, hey man, like I'm sitting at my kitchen table talking to like the best wrestler in the world, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't say this, since I'm supposed to be writing about it, but just as a fan, that turn was just awesome, were they holding up Jeff Hardy and they wanted him to do the Styles Clash on Hardy, and at the last minute he held up the 4 and they started fighting, and That was one of TNA's best turns, I thought. So
yeah, well, it was one of their good ones, and they've had a few good ones.
Yeah.
But I hated when he came down with Ric Flair. That was overshadowed, horrible. Everyone knows AJ Styles is a. How many Family Man fucking Ricky Steamboat promos did he cut in TNA?
He's a good Christian boy. Like even if you didn't know his background, you could just look at him and tell like he just felt awkward in the role. He just felt awkward.
Dude, when you have tattoos of your kids' birthdays, you're not going to be out banging other chicks. That's just the way
I like
is.
the fact that when he came out that the crowd was chanting "You are married." This is just kind of a personal fun fact for me. The first thing I ever had published under the PWI umbrella was right around that time. In the cover, I think it's an issue of Inside Wrestling. It's Ric Flair and AJ Styles working over Elijah Burke.
Okay.
So that's right around the time that I came into PWI. So, but I will, and if I had to guess, I would say that AJ Styles would probably agree, not his best angle.
Yeah, that and that other angle he did with Dixie. What was that? Who? Someone just put it. Claire Lynch.
Claire Lynch.
That was bad. That was bad. Now I did like. I liked it, and I didn't like. This is an interesting conversation that we've kind of come up to, because it's kind of like talking about what we liked about TNA instead of like the normal like TNA's awful and here's what they're doing wrong. It's kind of cool to have this conversation. Yeah. I at some level. And I I was a CM Punk fan. I really liked him leaving with the belt. And at some level, I kind of liked TNA going, you guys didn't handle that well. Here's how it should be done. And they had him walk out with the belt. So, I mean, I was really just split right down the middle. I'm like, I hate the fact that they're kind of ripping this off. But they're right. This is probably how it should have been done. You know, he's defending the belt at other places and stuff like that. I wish WWE would have worked that a little differently. And I know I'm not alone in that.
Not at all. No,
I agree.
Look, they should be having Heath Slater right now be doing indie matches. Right now, they should be booking him out to every indie show with this free agent gimmick going. Right now,
and that was the hope with Cody Rhodes, wasn't it? There were a lot of the IWC guys that write about it were saying, this is a work, and now the longer it goes, the nastier it gets. No, I'm not saying it shouldn't have been. I'm just saying the longer it goes, the more it's like this probably isn't a work, and that's too bad.
Yeah,
but in order for WWE to really do a good job at that, they have to give some props to independent wrestling companies other than Evolve, and I'm not sure if they're ready to do that. It would be so cool. It would be so cool if you had a WWE guy going and fighting Jason Kincaid in West Virginia,
and
1 week,
and then you know what
and
you
then the
do?
next week going out to California. And taking on, Kratos out there, one of their top guys in that area.
Yep.
I would love to see something.
And you know what you do with that? You know what you do? You put it on this new thing they have called the fucking network. And you make these indie fucking companies pay you to put it on their network. You know what that's called? Making money. Money.
Yeah. Well, I want to play devil's advocate.
No. Okay, go ahead.
All right. I look at it like I agree that WWE definitely missed the boat by not looking at every possible avenue. But from
Anthony,
WWE,
just real quick, it's Tommy's job to say that everything sucks. So,
well, I'm aping his gimmick for
one. Fucking sucks. I'm not fucking gay. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say obviously they have a good working relationship with Evolve. They know Gabe Sapolsky isn't going to fall off the rails.
Right.
I think part of WWE's trepidation with working with these other companies is they want to have total autonomy and jurisdiction over what's going on. Because if they get in bed with, say, a CZW, obviously CZW's toned down a lot from what they originally were under John Zandig, but they don't want to get in fucking bed with a bumblefuck promotion down south that could be doing all kinds of crazy shit that they don't endorse, because they've done a lot to clean up their image, and they don't want to get in bed with somebody that could, you know what I mean? Because you can't really control an independent promotion that you're really not working with. You know what I mean?
And that's a really, really good point. And I think, wow, I mean, there's two sides of it, because I started to say, especially you look at something like drugs, or you look at people getting in trouble with the law or whatever, and you're right, some of the smaller promotions that don't have their act together, yeah, there could be some kind of crossing streams there, and at the same time, boy, WWE is less than perfect. They've had 3 wellness policy violations inside of 2 weeks.
Yeah, and someone gets pulled over. They have at least 3 DUIs every year. Brock Lesnar, come on, that no matter what you say, that UFC thing affected them. They're not perfect either.
They're so. I think Anthony, your point is well taken. I think it could be done, and it could be done. I mean, you could go to a place like Resistance Pro, or Chicago's got some great promotions. Blitz. You could go down to Florida or Puerto Rico with places that have been established. Do kind of a one-off without a lot of strings attached, and keep moving.
Yeah, but I mean, there's a couple companies right now that they do have a sort of working relationship with. I mean, how many guys have they taken for this, CWC from all these different indie companies? They've got to have some sort of relationship with them. They use CZW guys. They use Luke Hawx's Wildcat guys all the time when they're down there. There's 2 companies right there that, I mean, there's 2.
And I think what we're talking about, we're kind of dancing around it, and you can tie it back to the 500 conversation, this is Triple H's impact, because he gets it, and he's moving it in a direction that is, I think he has to stay true to Vince for a little while longer, but he's trained by Killer. He's trained by Killer Kowalski. I mean, Triple H is an old school guy that has a fair amount of background. That he came up from the thing that Vince tore down, so I think he gets it, and I think and Boxman, I think that I've talked about this with you and Shaheen in the past. I always like the idea of jobbers. It brings independent people before a large audience, for better or for worse, a lot of times for better. So that's starting to happen again too with these 2 live shows. So I think a lot of what we're talking about is Triple H's increased influence on the business. Anthony disagrees. Either that, or he has like a really bad case of stomach flu because of all the noise he's making.
No, and I'm not going to deny. I agree and I disagree. Okay, as far as Triple H, I won't deny his impact, his influence. But I've been having this debate with people for a few months now about this notion that all of a sudden Triple H is like the internet Jesus. He can do no wrong. And part of me honestly thinks, because first of all, nothing can happen in that company without Vince signing off on it.
Sure.
So in effect, you have to thank Vince McMahon for these changes, because at the end of the day, if he says fuck this, I'm shutting it down.
But who did it take to move him in that direction? From what we can see, looking in, it looks like Triple H is moving him in that direction.
It certainly wasn't Stephanie. I mean, you can see the show is the same as a Vince show when Stephanie runs it.
And I think I don't know, Anthony. I don't think there are going to be a lot of people. I hear what you're saying, that there is a vocal contingent that's always going to be, a real polarized crowd, and you might be seeing some of that and being frustrated right now. But I don't think people give Triple H a free pass for some of the other stuff he's been involved in, as far as burying people in the past, China, stuff like that. As far as the way he's turning things right now, though, I'm not a huge Triple H fan, but this is pretty good stuff.
Oh yeah, I'm not going to deny that, but to me,
I think you need to apologize to Triple H right here on this show.
I won't do that because I think there's a little bit of I think there's a conspiracy theory going on.
He's listening. He's listening right now, Anthony. I guarantee you, he's listening right now, and he doesn't like what he's hearing.
I'm not Oliver Stone, but I honestly, but I have a conspiracy theory for you guys. I honestly think that a lot of what we're seeing right now is WWE's attempt to retroactively right all of the wrong, make people forget about the past, about Triple H. Honestly, they're trying to erase like the last 10 to 12 years because, let's be honest, Triple H, he's not old, but he's getting up there in years. And I think he's at a point now where he's kind of like being more introspective, and he wants to kind of be remembered as the guy that brought you NXT and brought all these changes. He doesn't want to be remembered. There was a time where he probably didn't give two fucks about what people thought about him. But as you get older, you start to care about that. And I honestly think they set up a situation to where you're going to slowly forget, because a whole generation will grow up thinking that Triple H is just a swell guy. They won't talk about...
Whoa.
I think you're having Triple H confused with Donald Trump.
There was thermite paint on the ropes, in the turnbuckle.
The operative question here to balance this out is, since when did WWE really care that much about what people think of the individuals who are making the decisions?
Hey, even Joey Styles said it. They're still pushing Roman Reigns. They're not fucking listening to you.
Yeah, I like conspiracy theories in general, so I'll give you some props for that. But I'm just joking with you a little bit. I don't feel like I'm talking down to you or anything like that, but I think you're giving him too much credit because
I've told them before they're not that creative too.
how can we? Because we, so Anthony, how old are you?
I'm 31.
And Boxman?
I am 41.
Okay, and I'm 43. Mm-hmm. So we're the people who are spending a lot of money on this right now, and we are part of the most nostalgic generation ever. This is about money, and it's about doing something cool. Mm-hmm. But people are going to pay for stuff that they think is cool, Yeah. So they're splitting the difference here. They've got Roman Reigns as the kind of muscle man that Vince likes, but they're also doing all this cool stuff. So they've got kids and young ladies who really like Roman Reigns, and John Cena, and then they've got this other stuff for older guys like us who work and spend our money on the product. So I think it's more about business than legacy building.
Oh yeah,
I can agree with that because but I just kind of like I just like to have like that truth out there.
It's a great theory. Yeah, the legacy building thing is always, I've seen that kind of professionally, and you see that even with presidents and stuff like that when you talk about them going into legacy mode. So I get what you're saying.
Yeah, you look at like Stephanie every other week now. It seems like for the past 3 or 4 years since she became like a regular on TV again, we're hearing about the feminist movement. I created the women's division. I don't recall her being a pioneer of shit. Correct me if I'm wrong. But
I actually think in that context that it's probably true for Stephanie because the McMahons they invent themselves. The McMahons have their own kayfabe about them. They'll kind of write their own story. They'll make a DVD about it and tell you how it went from their perspective, and you're supposed to go along with that as the canon, the official canon of things.
Yeah, it's just like I said. I just kind of like, since we kind of like I said, we just rattled off our ages. I ain't gonna put you guys out there again since I'm the youngest, but we lived through these things in real time. We know what was going on back in the day, and we know that Triple H wasn't always this get back to the business type of guy. So I just think it needs to be balanced out, because I think, like I said, they're appealing to a younger generation who may have only been watching WWE within the last over 5-10 years, and literally Triple H is taking a reduced kind of role on camera in that time frame. So they only really know him as like the character Triple H. They only know him as like the guy that shows up on NXT and this is my church, this is my babies, these are my kids. Welcome to NXT. That's all they know. They don't know about the fucking DX years. They don't know about the Reign of Terror. They don't know about Goldberg, Steiner, Booker T, RD, that long stretch of just burying, and I hate to use that word because I think it gets thrown around too much, but he buried like career after career for like a 3-4 year stretch. And I think that should not be forgotten. Like, it has to be in the conversation if you're going to balance out the good and the bad and tell a complete story of the guy. I'm not saying he's like a bad human being. I'm not trying to put him on a Benoit level, but I'm just trying to, you know what I mean, in terms of like how people kind of put him on this pedestal all of a sudden when that wasn't always the case. Because in a lot of ways, if you really think about it, the reason he rose up to that position is because Vince sees a lot of himself in Triple H. He's a body guy. He likes body. Let's be honest. NXT, they're trying to appeal to the lapsed fans. It's basically their version of what an independent promotion is. Mm-hmm. That's all it is. But if Triple H had his way about him,
do you remember I'm sorry. Do you remember what it was before that, though? Do you remember how NXT started? I went to a SmackDown taping, and they had an NXT show, and it was awful. They were trying to make it like a reality show, Survivor kind of thing. Oh my God, it was terrible. And thank goodness that they turned it around.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no doubt. I think they definitely took it in the right direction. But I think that's more geared towards like trying to bring back in that lapsed fan. I think Triple H is like, I think Vince is like one of those guys where he kind of dug in his ways. Once you get to a certain point in life and a certain level of success, you just like fuck everybody else.
You think
Triple H he's young enough and he recognizes the kind of landscape of modern day wrestling enough to where he said, I don't necessarily like that style of wrestling. CM Punk, I'm talking to you, but I recognize that there's a segment of fans that we're missing out on by not catering to them.
Yeah.
Which is why Kevin Owens was allowed to come in and essentially beat Kevin Steen. Why Samoa Joe's allowed to come in and beat Joe, and Joe's going to kill you and all that kind of stuff without minimal changes to what made them famous to begin with.
Yeah.
And that's another thing. Like he's signing guys and bringing them in as is. It's not like he's creating them from scratch. He's signing guys that had a buzz about them already, that already had something built up, and he's kind of like biting off of that, so to speak.
And that is a different way of thinking, because if you listen to Taz talk about jumping from WWE from ECW, and maybe it depends on what you guys think of Taz, but he said, I knew I wasn't going to get over because I wasn't Vince's creation. That could have been true then. I don't think it's true anymore.
I would agree with that. You know, real quick before we get too far past this, Shaheen is on with us.
I finally have my power.
Shaheen's got power. Shaheen, how does it feel to have power, be back in 2016 with us?
Honestly, I'm so exhausted from yelling at people for the past, 17 hours. But,
it's like the purge. You just lived through the purge.
I honestly, when they came and they had, all these flashlights going and everything, I was walking my dogs, right? It literally looked like an alien invasion because it's pitch black. You see all these dudes creeping up from behind the trees and everything with flashlights. It scared the shit out of me, to be honest with you. But thank God it's back. It took them about 17 hours, but
well, at least you got it back, man. Glad you're here. Glad you made it. Shaheen, obviously, I don't know if you've been listening, but we've been.
I couldn't even listen, man. My phone wasn't charging.
Well, we've been talking Mike Bessler's ear off about the PWI list and TNA and everything else, but I'm sure you had a few things to say about the list that you did. You?
Well, I got a quick question, and I'm not sure if Mike is even familiar with him, but I'm sure he is. Are you familiar with Joey Janela?
Yeah.
Yeah, because he was on Facebook, and basically he was saying that he was in a sarcastic way. He was saying that he was shocked that he didn't make the top 500. Did he come up in the conversation at all?
I deal a lot more with the TV guys, WWE, TNA, Ring of Honor, stuff like that. So I'm more in the top tier of that discussion. I don't know. I would have to ask Dan about that. And I do want to mention Dan Murphy was on JR's podcast earlier this week. So if people want to hear one of the senior writers talk about it, in fact, the guy who wrote the lion's share of this, you might want to flip over to after you're done listening to the Hot Tag podcast. Look for JR's podcast for the week to get Dan's take on it. But yeah, I that's a really good question. And I'm curious where you guys, where do you think you would have fallen in there, Shaheen? Like,
at least top 200, I would say. Because, you know, I follow the indies, and there were plenty of names that I'd never heard of before. And I think Joey from Coast to Coast, he's pretty well known now. 2 years ago, a year ago, yeah, he probably wouldn't be top 500. But over the past year, especially with that bump that he took from Zandig, he's got a lot of attention, man.
Yeah.
You know, and he's one of those guys that eventually he's going to get picked up by PWG, Ring of Honor, and soon enough you're going to see him in NXT. Not the biggest guy, but he's got a lot of charisma, man. He knows how to connect with the crowd. That guy he's money.
Yeah, and
yeah, absolutely. I hear you, and yeah, I said this one year. It's really hard to cram 10 pounds of sugar into a 5-pound bag. It's only 500 slots, and I hear what you're saying. Like, you haven't heard a lot of these folks and stuff like that. Some of these guys are regional talents. So yeah, I think there's a good mix in there. Is it possible that we didn't get? Is it probable that we didn't get everybody? It's a reasonable critique.
Yeah,
fair enough.
Just can't. Yeah, I think you said it right. Hard to fit 10 pounds of sugar in a 5-pound bag. And like I said before, there's no way you can make everybody happy with a list like this. No way in hell. Someone's going to bitch about this. This one should have been higher. This one should have been lower. Oh, what's that piece of shit? Same Sheamus doing up so high. Oh, wait a minute. That was me.
Who said that?
That was me, actually.
That?
That was me that said that, to be honest.
We've already been over. Next.
All right. You know. All right.
Now, Mike, let me ask you something real quick.
No, I'm done taking questions. I'm done. No, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Off top of my head, I don't quite remember what exact number he was, but Kevin Owens,
number 6,
since he won the title. If you guys had waited another 2 months or so, I mean, obviously you have to do it on a certain month, but if he was a champion already, do you think that would rank him higher? Like, do you see him being one of the top 2 maybe by the end of the year?
Oh, but maybe by the end of next year, you know. And I was actually talking about this while you were kind of groping around in the dark. I said that happens sometimes. Even we'll be in the so the grading period ended on the 30th, and we're talking about this, let's say in July, and it's like, oh, this guy had a huge win the other night. It's a career night. But we can't count it in here because we've already decided on our 12-month window, which, you know, is relative to last year's 12-month window and so forth. So would that have figured in? I would say so, and I'm looking right now, and I'll reiterate this again. Especially for the top 10 guys, each one of them got a 1-page spread on why they ranked where they did. And this is really cool. There's 2 things for Owens: top 5 moments during the evaluation period, and then another section of this article why he's number 6, and it kind of lists his achievements. You look at who was above him: Jay Lethal, AJ Styles, Finn Balor, Okada, and Reigns.
You did the same thing I did. Okada.
Who do you bump? Right? I mean, and don't everybody say Reigns at once. Seriously, let's say that he won that Kevin Owens won the Universal title a couple months prior. So does that mean that he's had a better evaluation period than Jay Lethal? Does Jay Lethal go down to 6? Does AJ Styles go down to 5 and we put Owens in at 4? if you're going to take it seriously, again, and I'm not saying that we're perfect or anything like that, but I think this is a pretty good list. If you're going to take it seriously, you do have to have those conversations, and we do. Like, we'll start and maybe have a pretty lengthy list, having gone through all this stuff, and then we'll say, wait a minute, now we've got it. This guy needs to be up in this group here. Wow, are we really going to bump all these guys down? We've really got to look at that.
Well,
it's a really good question, Shaheen. And the other thing is the Universal title. That's the one he has, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It's so new, and there's actually at the beginning of the magazine, Stu Sachs, the publisher, posts something about there being 2 titles again. Is that the same as winning the World Heavyweight Championship? Is that equal? Is it better? What do we do with that?
Yeah, you guys are going to have a real tough year next year with all these belts, man.
You know what? It's totally cool though, because, like I said again, look at this top 20. Mm-hmm. It's one of the strongest top 20s I've ever seen. You know, you got Sheamus right in there at 17. So, seriously.
I mean, in my opinion, you just delete Sheamus, delete Roman Reigns. Everyone moves up a spot, and everyone in the fucking IWC is happy. See how that works?
Yeah. Think about
I'm an easy
this
fixer.
For a minute. I was thinking about this tonight because I was anticipating some of the parts of this conversation, and you guys are so easy to talk to.
Thanks, man.
But the thing is, we give the IWC a lot of flack in conversations like this, and we're technically, I guess, part of the IWC, no matter how much we don't want to be. But if you look around on the internet at all the other subcultures and stuff like that, it's no worse. I mean, even if you go to like one of the major news sites that still have comments visible. Everybody was doing that for a while. Now it's just a few of the big networks have stuck with it, because the comment section turns into garbage. And you literally have people on there all day long who want to troll along this kind of partisan binary divide, or they've got their own kind of hobby horses or whatever. So there's like, I don't know what they call it, because I only really follow wrestling and, some other kind of more obscure political stuff. Maybe there's names for people who hang out on news sites all day and, and troll each other and have ridiculously polarized opinions. Does this stuff happen on, I know it happens on Reddit. That's why I never go on Reddit. And sites like that. So
YouTube.
My God, YouTube. Yeah, I was talking with somebody about that recently. I think YouTube is that the subcultures on there infinitely worse than the IWC on the IWC's worst day. So how bad is the internet wrestling community? Some days it gets really bad, but no worse than any of these other things that I just listed. Yeah. Do you guys agree with that or disagree? I'm curious.
Oh, I agree. I mean, look, like I've said before, there is no way in this world to make everybody happy. And if you're going to try to do it, you're going to die doing it.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, whatever. I hate this saying. It is what it is, right?
And I will say this. I was a paid moderator on one of the biggest wrestling sites on the internet, and a comment moderator. It is a miserable existence. It is absolutely terrible to have to clean up comment threads and caution people, and then you get lectured with people. And here I've worked in the court system for 20 years and taking constitutional law courses and stuff like that, and getting lectured by a teenager about freedom of speech. You deleted my comment, and that's not freedom of speech. And well, yes, it is. Here's why. I'm trying not to curse on your show because I'm representing the magazine, but in my mind, it's always like, no, idiot. Here's what freedom of speech means, and you're posting on a board owned by someone else. That's a rant, I know, but I'm telling you.
Do you want me to parrot that? Here's what you meant to say.
There are so many other things that I would rather do in my life than moderate people's comments on a wrestling page, and a lot of those things I'd rather be doing probably involve getting stabbed by a fork. But
Abdul the Butcher's fork?
yeah, no.
You might catch FC though.
Yeah.
Yeah. I know which page you're talking about, and I've read. I still read the comments. If I'm down in the dumps and need a good laugh, I'll read the comments on there. But I don't envy ever having to do that, because those comments are ridiculously.
Yeah, I mean, there are sometimes when somebody's trolling, but other times I've wanted to be like, this is your life. This is what you're doing right now and for the rest of the day and for every other day in the foreseeable future. I mean, and I can't relate to that. I had a hard time relating to that. And especially people get really abusive over just the slightest thing. Life's too short,
Yeah.
Mike, do you remember a few years ago when I went to the Royal Rumble, I put that YouTube video up, and you guys picked it up on when you were with Wrestling Inc.
Yeah.
And I remember you gave me a heads up. You were like, all right, well, when you look at the comments, don't be shocked. Yeah. But there's a lot of trolls. And I read it, and I was like, holy shit, man, I can't believe people invest this much time just complaining on wrestling sites.
But I mean, that's what I mean. It was kind of like citizen journalism, and you're telling me, hey, here's what happened, and I've got pictures of it, and it's a great first-hand account, and I thought, and I still there's a lot of other examples like that where I'm like, people want to read about this. I mean, what would you rather read 2 or 3 articles about Sonny doing naughty chats on Skype? Or would you rather read something different about, here's what this guy saw at the Royal Rumble that the cameras didn't pick up? Are
there pictures?
I would rather read something different.
Are there pictures of Sonny on Skype? That's my first question.
Oh, you're familiar with Google Image
I'm
Box,
joking.
and I'm sure.
Hey, you'd prefer Nicole Bass.
Shut up, you asshole.
but yeah, and you know what, Shaheen, I think it's one of those things that I've been fortunate to be paid to write about wrestling through a number of different outlets, so I can't complain too much. But you gave me some good stuff even back then with the Chris Dickinson stuff. And I'm just kind of telling stories, but sometimes that was swimming upstream on the internet, trying to convince folks that this story probably has legs and it's going to get picked up, and that's kind of frustrating. And it's doing wrestling stuff on the internet is exhausting. Mm-hmm. I mean, it can really, really try your patience and make you question a lot. And that's why I'm saying sometimes it's easy just to stand back and go, maybe let's keep it fun and let's keep it different and keep a perspective about it.
It makes you question life at times.
Well, I know Shaheen does. He questions life when he reads all those comments.
No. I question like 2 times in my life. I question it 2 times. When I walk through a Walmart and when I go to an indie show.
When I walk through a Walmart?
Like just honestly, walk through a Walmart whenever you're feeling down in the dumps. You'll feel infinitely better about yourself.
Yeah, I don't question my life when I'm in I question everybody else's life when I'm in a Walmart. Plus, true. I'm not sure who I'm going to have to shoot. But all right.
So that's more of a, you go to Walmart if you're ever feeling down about your life.
I will. So let me tell a story real quick. This is totally off the topic of wrestling. This is about the day that I walked out of Walmart and never went back for years. I went in there in the school supply aisle. It was right around the start of school one year, and I was looking at pens or something like that. And a few feet away, there's a mom looking at something. She looks totally stressed out. And this kid, like 8, 9 years old, picks up this, those multicolored bags of Sharpies that have like all the colors in the rainbow. Mm-hmm. And this is literally the conversation I heard. He holds it up to her. He goes, "These look like they could be very handy." And the mom turns to him and goes, "Everything you say is stupid, and I'm getting tired of it." And I literally put down everything that I had in my hands, walked out, and didn't go back into a Walmart for years.
Oh God, no!
How sad is that? And my kids, most of my, I've got 3 kids, so 2 out of my 3 kids are old enough to understand that story now. And I told them that recently because I've never said anything even close to that. And that gives me then the grounds to say, you're welcome for me being such a great parent.
Yeah,
because I'm not the Walmart
No,
mom.
I've never said that to my child either.
I have no idea what could have possibly happened earlier in the day to prompt that response, but I've never been able to think of anything that would justify responding to a child that way.
Maybe they had to go to Walmart instead of her copping meth? Is that a possibility, maybe?
To be honest with you, I don't have any kids, but I haven't even said that to my dogs.
Yeah.
Well,
it was horrible. I mean, I left sad. I really should not go back here for a long time.
Yeah. 9 out of 10 times I go into Walmart through the patio furniture and all that stuff, the nursery part of it. I go get what I want and I walk the fuck out. The less you have to deal with the front part of the store, the better off you are. I've literally had to break up fights between men and women in line at Walmart with my children there. When you got to look at your kids and go, stay here, don't move, I'll be right back. Okay.
And on a personal note, fuck the Walmart greeter. I gotta say this.
Dude.
That is the most worthless job, piece of shit job I have ever seen in my. Oh, welcome to Walmart. Fuck you,
dude. Look. I can't
Anthony
be like
angry.
that.
He's an angry man.
I can't be like that, dude.
He's on a
Anybody
period.
willing to do that job, thank you, and I'm glad you're working. How's that sound? I'm going to completely go against what Anthony just said.
No, I'm just fucking around. I'll keep the way you go.
He just thought of it.
All
Yeah,
right,
Box
well,
might be
on
right.
a side note, since we're talking about random things, Mike, let me ask you one more question. Obviously, everybody knows how I feel about 40, 50-year-old men at independent wrestling shows, walking around with multiple wrestling replica belts.
I know where this is going.
How do you feel about grown men walking around with wrestling replica belts?
And
Yeah,
how am I
gonna
going to
have to
put
take
this so I don't get more emails tomorrow?
Well,
I think I'm going to start asking everybody this when they're on the show. Every guest is going to be asked this question.
I have 2 answers.
Okay.
One is that I've never really understood that. Now, I will say I think that replica belts are cool. I've always wanted one. I've never been able to justify spending, $300 on one. I'd like the AWA one. I think that'd be cool. But I don't have one. I've never kind of understood why you would take one to a show. I don't have things around my house that cost $200 or $300 that I think I want to take this out, walk around with it in public. Can you imagine if you had a Fabergé egg and you took that to a concert or something like that? That's kind of how I think about that. But at the same time, and this is where you go, oh, or Mike brings down the entire show. I think just the nature of kind of my 9-to-5 work, because I deal with a lot of really kind of harsh realities and see people go through really horrible things, that it's hard for me to go to think badly about somebody who's just having a good time, and that feels good to them. So that's not it's not hurting anybody. So do your thing.
Yeah. See, I have no problem with people owning replica belts. I don't understand when they walk around and they act like they won the belt. You know what I mean? They walk around with pride wearing that. And that's what I don't understand. It's cool to have it in your basement and your bag. I understand that.
That's like when people talk about sports teams and use words like we.
Oh.
We
Right.
we totally messed that up, or we totally this, that, yeah. But I think I want to start a movement, which I think everybody that listens to this show should buy a Fabergé egg and take it to a wrestling show.
I'd rather.
I go. You think you're hot stuff with that belt? I've got a Fabergé egg.
I'd rather buy a fucking like McLaren P1 and drive that to the show. That'd be more my style.
Can't take that in the arena with you.
The fuck I can't. I got a McLaren.
Fling that over your shoulder.
Dude, if you pay $3.3 million for a car, I got a feeling they're going to let you in the fucking arena. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. All right?
And you know what? Let me add this to this whole little conversation. Another problem that I have is most of these grown men that have these replica belts, they usually have 2 kids with them, and the kids don't have belts, but this guy has 3 on his shoulders.
Well, that is a separate conversation, and then I look at that and go, okay. I actually saw somebody on Facebook one time totally calling somebody out for. Apparently, this guy was not taking care of his kids, but was also posting that he had just bought a replica belt. And I mean, it was like really. And I think I messaged the person. I'm like, "Is this real, or are you just doing some kind of indie? This is an indie wrestler." I'm like, "Is this some kind of promo for a match or something like that?" He's like, "No, this is real. The guy's like not taking care of his own children, but he's talking about how he spent $500 for this replica belt." I'm like, "Okay, that's ridiculous."
Man. Yeah, that's now. Look, do you think maybe the kids just don't want to hold the belts anymore, Shaheen? Kids?
No, I think the kids are smart enough to see that it's kind of weird to carry it around when it weighs more than them.
Oh, yeah. You think the poor kids like, Dad just used me to buy this? You know, come on. Mike knows we do get our kids some toys that we want.
Yes, absolutely, and I let them play with my old stuff, and I probably shouldn't have. My Castle Grayskull is, just a mess, and that was in great shape before I had
it's
kids.
Just Castle Skull now.
But yeah.
Well, let's not shit on these people too much because they keep the wrestling business going.
We've said the kids haven't paid their dues.
They got to start at the bottom.
I might post this on my page or your guys' page, but like I said, I've never bought any official replica belts, but I bought a really cool one once. I've told you guys before, one of my favorite promotions growing up was International Championship Wrestling. It was Angelo Paffo's promotion, so he had Randy Savage and Lanny Poffo were the top guys. Lanny was more over than Randy, if you can imagine that. It was a pretty cool time, and somebody made a replica of the ICW belt, and it's like electric tape and like pieces of tin and like drawn on figures, and I paid I think like $30 for it on eBay, and it's pretty cool. I mean, because I know it's the only one in the world. I actually told Lanny Poffo about it when I met him, and I'm like, yeah, it's pretty ratty. And then Lanny kind of went on this kind of rant about how he always thought that was an ugly belt, but it's like, I'd like that more than the idea of paying like $300 for something that's mass produced. And if I'm not mistaken, aren't there different levels of those? Like you can buy like it used to be that you could buy the $200 one, or you could buy like the $600 one.
I'm not sure anymore.
You guys remember that? There was like a deluxe replica belt.
Yeah, or you could just go to Walmart and buy one of those foam ones.
The foam ones are cool enough for me because they didn't have those when I was a kid. My brother and I would just beat each other up, and we didn't have like a prize to fight over. So,
yeah.
And you know what the saddest thing is when they pay for these autographs to take pictures with the wrestlers, and the wrestlers kind of feel awkward and kind of feel ashamed to stand next to this dude because it is kind of weird, you know. I can only imagine being a wrestler and this guy walks up to me, you know, acting like one of the boys, and he's like using the lingo, and he's carrying around these belts, and it's like, yeah, dude, you're my age, and you know.
As long as the check clears, they don't care. You look at Road Warrior Animal. He takes pictures with people. He lets people wear the pads. I mean, they don't care.
Yeah, I was working WWE tonight. Oh, sorry. All right. Got my belt. I was working. Got a few autographs. Working.
I am excited to meet Abdul the Butcher next weekend, though.
Oh, shit.
Oh, wow.
That's happening. That's definitely a
Someone
thing.
feels sorry for you here, it sounds like.
Yeah, I know. I hear Michael. He doesn't sound excited.
Sounds great. It's too bad his restaurant closed. You know.
Yeah, I'll pass on that.
Could have gotten some coupons or something like that.
Yeah, I'm sure they're probably just passing them out now, man. You know what's
At least his table
You
will be
can buy
allowed
his
to build in
ring.
the shop.
What's he want? Like $15,000 for that ring?
Dude, I
I
wouldn't.
think he was.
Those rings are. No.
That's some bling, Shaheen. See, you
No,
could
it-
wear
no.
that. Now listen, Boxman and Anthony and I wouldn't steer you wrong, okay? You could wear that to a show, you'd get some respect, man.
You know
You
what?
get some respect. You get respect, motherfucker.
What's his name? Feinstein was actually selling one of the Hall of Fame rings, and I'm pretty sure it was Tammy's.
No, I think it was Superstar Billy Graham.
Now, Billy Graham's
think
could have
so?
been. Billy Graham's been trying to get rid of his, but I believe didn't Billy Graham say he pawned his?
I think he was just talking shit.
One of them said they hawked it, and I believe it was him. I believe it was him. Someone loading a gun back there? What the fuck? I'm about to go get mine. I mean, I'm getting nervous over here.
Do you hear that? I think that's the sound of me literally moving around action figures in my home office area as we're talking here. This happens every time I call in. I get like an instant message that says, "Who is typing?" in all caps. So I'm not typing tonight, and I'm still getting grief.
Well, at least Anthony got out of the fucking airplane hangar he was calling us from earlier. Obviously, his plane took off safely.
Yeah. Yeah, I survived my ride on Air Force One.
Jesus. You and fucking Smart. Smart calls in.
Yeah, his definitely sounds like an alien abduction, man. It sounds like it's about to go down when he calls in.
Oh, shit.
He has like a New Japan entrance, you know, like one of those Great Muta entrances where it's like 25-minute hype.
Yeah.
That's when he calls in.
Damn.
So I'm curious if I could ask, and I know it's not my show, and we're not even talking about anything that I called in to talk about anymore, but if I could ask, if you guys haven't already talked about it, UFC 203. What's going on with that? What do you guys think?
I think
'Cause
CM
I'm
Punk's
curious.
almost going to die, dude. To be honest with you, I don't think he's ready.
I posted on my Facebook, my personal Facebook page earlier, that I was thinking about getting it. How much is it? That tells you how far out of the loop I was. Somebody said $60. In all honesty, I'm not thinking about getting it anymore.
Dude,
that is
so but
go ahead.
Go
No,
ahead.
you
Go ahead.
please keep going.
I have. Here's the last thing I'm going to say about it, and then I want to hear what you guys think, honestly, because I care about what you guys think, especially since Tommy isn't on the show tonight.
Bam.
What I was a CM Punk fan. I'm sure some of you guys were, maybe most of you guys were. He's kind of sort of lost me a little bit, and he's lost a lot of people. I was watching his Q&A on the Facebook thing that he did. I started to kind of feel those old feelings again, like, I hope this guy makes it. I post this guy on Facebook. I post this on Facebook like I'm thinking about doing it, and I get some vitriol from wrestling guys that are like, no, screw him, who cares? So where are you guys falling in all that?
Well, I probably keep up with the MMA a little more than both of these guys.
And that's why you call it the MMA,
Yes.
because you're so in
The
blue.
MMA.
Yeah.
The MMA.
I don't know. Look, I was a CM Punk fan, and I'm really interested in seeing him fight. After seeing him spar, I don't know if he's ready to be in the octagon right now. You know, I mean, he didn't look very good sparring, if you ask me. If he can make it through the first round with Mickey Gall, then I think he might have a shot. But
wow, but you're that concerned. I mean, that's a high level of concern, I would say.
Look,
I'm not an expert, but how far back did those sparring sessions go?
Well, this was supposedly like a newer one. This was, you
The
know,
one where you get choked out?
it couldn't have been that new because it was off of that Evolution of Punk special, so it couldn't have been that new. But how old could it be? I mean, he had the back surgery a while ago, right, or whatever it was, and now he's back. So he's only been back 4 months?
Yeah.
So it's
even if it was 6 months ago, it's still not. That's still not enough time to become an expert.
No,
in UFC.
Listen. Someone who's never fought in the UFC, someone who's never really. I mean, yeah, I'm sure he's taken a few shots to the head, accidentally in wrestling, but that's nothing like someone who's trained to punch the shit out of you for real.
Well, and here's an interesting counterpoint to that, because one of the questions was, it's funny you say it out loud. Are you worried about getting hit for the first time? And he looks at the camera. He's like, yeah, for the first time, because it'll be the first time I've ever been hit. Because so he's probably been knocked around a few times, and he's worked with Lesnar, which I'm sure is not the easiest thing in the world.
Yeah,
pre-WWE, he cracked his skull.
Yeah,
that's a well-known
and
story.
trust me, I know these guys contract train. They're not. This is not the first time they're getting punched. Trust me, they have to basically sit there and get punched in the face to know what it feels like, how to control yourself during it, and that. But they're, this guy is trained to fucking do what he does. He's been training forever. You've been training off and on for 2 years.
Yeah.
Now he also said, remember the whole point of this is to not get hit. So is it possible that he could, outlast and kind of avoid any kind of serious damage?
This is not Sugar Ray Punk or CM Mayweather. No, he's gonna get hit. Have you ever seen Mickey Gall fight?
No.
Okay.
No.
I think Punk's in trouble.
You know what though?
Wow.
I think he's gonna go all in. I think he's not gonna try to dip and dodge at all. I think he's just gonna try to attack like in the first second, and it's either he's gonna hit or he's gonna get knocked out.
The worst thing to block
that's the attitude.
I realize that, but I'm gonna tell
kidding.
you you want to know what the worst thing to block a punch with is? Your face.
Yeah.
What happens
mentioned
to his career if he gets knocked out right off the bat?
Supposedly he's got a 3-fight deal, and I think for the first fight, if you ask me, Dana White's gonna make money on this. CM Punk is going to be a draw. Half the people, 50% of the people want to fucking see him get his ass kicked. 50% of the people just want to see if he goes past round one. Everybody either wants to see him get killed or pull out some unanimous victory out of his ass. Which, if this were Pride, I would put all my money on CM Punk. I'll put it that way. If this were Pride fighting, I would put money on Punk because they have no problem fucking, fixing a match. But
now you know what? I also watched that Q&A, and to be honest, he looks ill. The way that
I didn't want to say that, and there was a lot of talk about weight cut,
he's
stuff
cutting.
like that.
He's cutting,
and
Dude.
and I'm kind of like Anthony, like I'm not the expert on it, but I had the same thought. I'm like, he looks like anemic.
Dude, weight cutting is. Have you ever watched that show, Ultimate Fighter?
I've probably seen bits and pieces.
It's the reality show where they show these guys weight cutting, and I could only imagine what they don't show you.
So why do you have to do that?
You've got to make weight. If you don't make weight, they can basically tell you you're too heavy and you can't fight. I mean, but you've got to make weight. That's one of the big things.
Too many rules. See, that's why I like wrestling. There's just too many
it's
rules.
simple.
In wrestling, you've got Rey Mysterio against the Big Show, and it makes perfect sense if Rey wins.
Of course it does.
So,
of course he has a mask. Of course he's gonna win.
Nah, dude, he really looks sick though. Like I don't think he's cutting weight in a healthy way.
Dude.
I think he looks like he was fucking,
Unfortunately,
just throwing up for the last 5 days.
There is no way to cut weight safely. The way these guys do it is ridiculous, bro. I'm talking rubber suits, sweat rooms in rubber suits. All your workouts are done in a rubber fucking suit. You are sweating bullets the whole fucking time. They're dehydrating you because, you dehydrate. I mean, even Bod in the chat is saying cutting is a bitch. Look, just look at those fucking bodybuilder guys who do those fucking, those pro bodybuilding. You know how much those guys dehydrate themselves when they cut like that?
I don't know, man. All I'm saying is CM Punk is skinny and he's looking like he's starving. He looks like he's back on the Indies star.
The next day after that fight, what they'll do is right after the fight, they'll put him on an IV bag. They'll put more fluids back into him, and he'll look fucking fine the next day. That's how they do it. You get the bag. They put the fluid on you. That's how they replenish you.
He's always looked sick, though.
Well,
you know?
I mean, look, he's not the hugest guy. What was it Triple H called him? Skinny fat. He's skinny fat.
He was fun. Like, he was fun to watch come up in WWE. I liked him in ECW. His TNA stuff's pretty cool. I don't know, have you guys ever seen that Not So Legal compilation of all of his TNA matches? It's on like 2 or 3 DVDs.
Yeah, I've seen
there's some pretty cool stuff on there. I really enjoyed watching him as a wrestler, and I can also understand why a lot of wrestlers and wrestling fans have some sour grapes, because it's almost like there was an expectation that we should stop being wrestling fans now. And I hate to say it like this, but that we should root for him, and by the way, we're still garbage anyway, kind of thing. Like, it's always kind of felt like you're damned if you do, damned if you don't in his post WWE career. So I think I'm still kind of a little bit in that camp of I hope he makes it. I hope this is what he wants, and it turns out okay. But I mean, hearing Boxman kind of break it down, as somebody who sounds like you know what you're talking about, it could go very badly.
But I mean, you know what? It's fighting. Punk could also land a lucky fucking punch, knock the guy out cold. I mean, look.
And Lesnar lost his first fight, right?
To Frank Mir, yeah. Frank Mir submitted him though.
But his second match against Mir was pretty awesome.
Brutalized. Frank
no
Mir.
denying. Now that, and I'm not a big UFC guy, but that one I watched, and that one was just phenomenal.
Yeah, he brutalized Frank Mir in that second fight. He showed he was ready to fucking go. So I don't know. Punk gets a second fight after this, which I'm assuming he'll do fight 2 and 3. Actually, wasn't it like an 8-fight deal? It was an 8-fight deal, wasn't it? I believe Punk has like an 8-fight deal with UFC. We'll see. We'll see how long. I mean, if he loses his first 3, he's done. Dana will not keep him no matter how much money he's making him. Dana won't fucking waste time on a loser. He's proved that time and time again. He's got rid of some big guys. So,
well, he needs a jobber. I need one.
If you say so. I don't know. But, CM Punk, look, like I said, it's fighting. One lucky punch can put a guy down on the button. But I hope he fucking keeps his hands up, his elbows in, and fucking prays to God.
Well, I look at it like this. If you want to romanticize the situation, you can say, well, at least he has the balls to go for what he wants. He always wanted to do this shit, so he's finally going to get it out of the system. So win, lose, or draw, from that aspect, he's already won.
And I've said this on this show. There's a very, very fine line between balls and stupidity, and I guess we're going to find out exactly which one after this fight.
Yeah, I mean, look, and I think, like I said, I think a lot of people get it misconstrued because, like I said, I'm not a big-time UFC fan, and I just think that a lot of wrestlers go into it blindly. They think, because I can take blind. Look, it takes a certain level of toughness to be a wrestler. I think we can all agree on that. You can't be a pussy and get involved in wrestling because you're putting your body through a physical toll. But Punk is going into this thing kind of blind. You don't have to be a UFC expert to realize that this dude has no prior fight experience. He's not Brock Lesnar, who was a fucking NCAA champion, and even if he wasn't, he's just big as fuck. It just boggles my mind, but I'm kind of indifferent to Punk. He's going to do what he's going to do anyway. I personally think he's going to lose badly. It's going to be kind of like an embarrassment type of situation, but I'm not wishing nothing on the guy, but I just don't see this ending well.
Yeah.
I really don't.
Well, like I said, Dana's going to make his money on this first fight. This first CM Punk fight will draw very well for him. From there, we'll have to see how it ends. But I pray for Punk. We might want to get that hashtagging right now. Pray for Punk.
That's actually kind of funny. You might get some traction on that.
Pray for Punk might be Saturday night's hashtag, but I don't know.
That might be the name of the show.
Might be the name of the show. Good luck to him. Look, good luck to him. If he wins, awesome. But I have a feeling if he loses, it's going to be a fucking bloodbath.
Blood?
Yeah.
Blood sport?
Yeah, it's going to be blood sport.
I mentioned Abdul the Butcher, but they're not going in there, going for bloodbath, I don't think. I think he's going to get knocked out in like 2 seconds, man.
I
honestly think it's going to last
second
2 seconds.
match, right? They already booked that.
Yeah, Abdul, yeah.
Fight, second fight. I'm sorry, it's not a match.
No,
it's
never a match. It's a fight in the octagon. Fucking octagon. I don't know.
Thanks for entertaining my question to the esteemed panel on that matter.
No. Well, do you think Punk's going to win?
I don't know enough about it, and here, I think I can't separate. I've never been good at separating my sentimentality from what I want to happen versus what'll probably happen, and I know what I want to happen. I think I want him to win, but hearing you, it's just kind of like, again, it's kind of back to that old Bengals analogy that I gave earlier. I'd get excited as a kid. My dad had lived in Cincinnati, and I'd be like, looks like they're gonna do it. Looks like this is the year. And my dad, for some reason, would always go, yeah, I just I don't see it happen. Like, well, no matter what was going on. I told him this just a couple months ago. I'm like, you ruined me for life. I think about this every year now, like right around the postseason. And so, Boxman, you're kind of like the voice of my dad right now, going, yeah, son, I don't see it happening.
Well, that's the thing with look, when you're throwing fucking punches, one lucky punch lands. That's all it takes. One.
Well,
I literally knew a guy years ago. He doesn't like me anymore, so we haven't talked in a very long time. But he was all like, I'm going to be an MMA fighter, and I'm going to start training, and we were working on some projects together and stuff like that, and I'm going to be a sponsor, this and that. First practice, get an email that says, I realized that I really just didn't like getting punched in the face, so I'm not going back. It's true, absolutely true story, you guys.
It took you that long to realize you don't want to get punched in the face?
At some point, you do have to respect that kind of honesty.
Oh, absolutely. I mean...
Yeah.
I don't want to get punched in the face.
No, and I've said this before. How do you work up... Imagine waking up in the morning. You're an MMA fighter, and you realize you may get the living shit beat out of you tonight.
Dude, mowing my grass tonight was a Herculean effort on my part. Okay?
Yeah.
And I didn't even finish.
It's like me getting out of the bed. I'm like, yes! Yes! I woke up.
You're high-fiving people. High-fiving your kids. Hey, Daddy's awake. High five.
I don't even know how I would work myself up to, I'm going to go get my ass kicked possibly in a night.
You sound Will Ferrell.
Fuck yeah, I mean, I don't know. I mean, I guess if you're CM Punk and you got all this money, you got fucking AJ Lee, wake up next to her. I guess it's different if you're him. Yeah, who cares?
How old are your kids, Boxman?
7 and 3.
So tomorrow morning at breakfast, you just need to go just out loud, just be like, kids, I'm going to go get my ass kicked today. Give me a high five. And see what they do. They will remember that for years, too, is the thing.
Oh.
And just leave. Don't even tell them that it's a joke. Just leave.
My 7.
Dude, I could never do MMA. I do not understand. Not even boxing. I never even wanted to be a wrestler.
No, well, I mean, you've been in a fight. You've been hit before.
Right, but that's like not because I planned on it.
And it sucks.
That's the feeling I would hate, that feeling of waking up in the morning knowing I just all right, yeah, I might get my jaw cracked tonight. I mean, any fight you get in is because something had happened, or college.
Looking really forward to getting your jaw wired shut later tonight. Yeah,
can't wait to drink out of a straw for the next month and a half. Yeah,
exactly. Okay. That's what I've been trying to avoid my whole life, so I'm trying to keep it that way.
Yeah, But I guess on that note, good luck, CM Punk. Pray for Punk. Hashtag pray for Punk.
Dicks out for Harambe and
Dicks
Punk.
out for Punk. No. Ew.
No, I just had a quick thought, so we can move on from the Punk stuff.
Oh, shit.
Just imagine, you think during the course of the match, however long it goes, 1 round, 4 rounds, whatever, he'll get punched so loopy that he'll just instinctively go, "Oh, lighten up, bro. Lighten up a little." Right? 'Cause, I mean, obviously you can't do that in a real situation, but that's another aspect. You can't tell the other guy to lighten up.
I don't know if he's going to get the chance to tell this guy to lighten up.
Yeah, it's not happening, dude. He's getting knocked out.
There you go. Weebs, nobody ever wins a fight. Patrick Swayze, Roadhouse.
By the way, guys, I just saw...
Pain don't hurt, man. Pain don't hurt. Okay, go ahead.
I just saw a recent picture of Dave Meltzer at the recent Pro Wrestling Guerrilla show, and he looks jacked, dude. He looks like a fucking wrestler.
Well,
have you seen him?
He wrestled before, I think.
No, but I mean, he looks like fucking like Batista right now.
Look, I'm not...
Yeah, I saw the picture.
Look, how do I say this?
It's what happens when you have steroids for breakfast.
Well, allegedly.
Allegedly.
Not even allegedly.
Maybe.
No, he's not on anything.
What? Dude, he's been that big for a while. Do you remember that Donahue back in the day?
Yeah.
He was as big as half
That's
the...
on YouTube.
Yeah,
I
it is
think,
on
still.
YouTube. He's as big as...
That's good watching.
It is.
If any of your listeners have never seen it, that's a good way to kill an hour. That's great
You want to
stuff.
see a guy work that fucking microphone. Watch Donahue flip that bad boy back and forth.
Wasn't he great?
Donahue...
I miss that stuff.
Donahue worked that mic better than a Roman Reigns hair flip.
And Vince is grilled on that show.
Oh.
I mean, you can tell he is hating every minute, and he's probably daydreaming of the day when he can crush people under the weight of his multinational corporation.
I still say the reason Bob Costas got the fucking attitude he did was because Vince had a flashback to Donahue.
Yeah, that's not inconceivable. I think that's actually what that happened. It's like, this is my redemption for getting walked all over, because in that segment, he really gets taken to task.
Oh, yeah, that Bob Costas one, though, man, he rips that paper out of his hand. Is that scary? Huh? You scared about that? That's scary? Do I scare you? Yeah, that's what it's like, pal.
But I'll tell you this, though, the day Vince goes, and I hope it's no time soon, nobody defends that company with more passion than Vince. I swear to God.
Yeah, well, he didn't have a choice back then, but to have passion, he was in 90,000 steroid scandals.
You know my favorite one, though? Did you guys ever see, since we're on the subject, did you guys see the back and forth with him and San Martino on CNN, on Larry King? That's one of my favorite segments ever.
Fucking Larry King.
I don't think I've seen that. Oh, wait, yes, I think I have.
Yeah, Larry King, even back then, didn't have a clue what he was talking about.
Yeah.
Didn't have a fucking clue. So, wrestling, what's it like getting punched? Fuck, man. Larry King. All right. Mr. Bessler, we've had you on for damn near 2 hours.
Longest I've ever been on the show. I'm exhausted. I mowed my freaking grass, you guys. I feel like an MMA fighter.
You've had more training than Punk.
All in all, he might have. If you add it up, yeah, he might have.
Dude, honestly, I'm watching this video right now, the CM Punk video. He looks sick. He should check himself in the ER as soon as possible. He might have MRSA again.
That's his whole gimmick. Punk's always looked sickly.
I have an idea.
Punk look like he's fucking 8 years every time I see him.
You know what? I think I have a Z-Pack around here I can send him. That should cure him.
Man.
Just send him a Z-Pack.
Is the Z-Pack a performance-enhancing drug?
Absolutely.
It's not going to matter till after the fight.
No.
Anyway. That's usually when UFC reveals
Right.
the results.
No. And let's face it, after Brock Lesnar, if he fails one drug test, it's not going to fucking make news. 2 makes news. 1 doesn't. That would be so funny if CM Punk failed a drug test. Oh, the irony.
No. That would be horrible.
Oh.
That would be a horrible thing.
Oh, the irony of that tattoo on his belly.
That would be terrible.
Dude, that would be the biggest rib. If Dynamite Kid was around, he would definitely, while you sleeping, put something in his mouth.
Jeff Hardy would be
Papa
cutting
ecstasy-
YouTube videos for months if CM Punk tested
Exactly.
positive.
Put an ecstasy pill right on his tongue when he's sleeping.
Do you guys remember that it was the drunken Matt Hardy thing in the diner?
Waffle House,
where
dude.
they're shooting on CM Punk, and I'm
Yeah.
watching like, is this for real? Like, is this really? Maybe that was kind of the origin of Broken Matt Hardy. That video right there.
I can see that now.
Oh, that was hilarious.
Well,
Oh,
that
yeah.
was Jeff doing that. And Jeff Hardy accused him of taking
No,
Ambien.
they were both messed up.
They were both, like,
Ambien.
I swear, like, fucking, it took, like, it had to take Matt Hardy about 20 minutes to eat these fries. He was so out of it. And
Yeah,
Jeff
I
just
don't-
got
it
went
just-
up on his rant.
It honestly didn't even look like they were drunk, man. They looked like they were on something else. They looked like they were just completely zoned
Dude,
out
they
and
were
out of it.
so high on that Waffle House syrup, bro. That shit will fuck you up, bro.
Sipping
They got
on
that
syrup.
pecan syrup.
What's that?
Oh, that shit right there is like fucking drugs right there, man. Mainline that shit.
All right, Mike.
bro.
Well,
All right.
Well, thanks very much again for the invite.
Oh, thank
And,
you, dude. I appreciate it. Thanks for the 2 hours, man.
I enjoy listening to the show, all that stuff. And I wasn't in the chat room tonight, but I really all that
dude,
stuff.
you sound like you just came out of a CM Punk.
I'm literally phoning it in now. Yeah.
No, whatever.
Yeah, you stupid wrestling fans. Don't talk to me about fake wrestling.
You stupid
No,
people,
I will
fucking
say too.
fake wrestling belts.
One of the things I like about the podcast, I always tell you guys what I like about the show when it's over or when I'm signing off, and I actually like the THT fans quite a bit. You guys built a nice community, and your page is really fun to read, during the week. So.
Thanks.
Yeah,
we're
keep it
lucky
up.
so far. We haven't got our little whack pack going yet, but well, we've got them, but they're at least respectful right now. So, but man, definitely appreciate it.
That's a huge.
It
That's
is.
a huge
You know
plus.
what, Mike? I want to thank you because, as you said in the beginning, you have saved the show because I was by myself.
I did. I carried it on my back, much like CM Punk carried
his
WWE
back
on
for
his
years,
back.
and you know what? You should be tired of it by now, like he is.
Much like
I
all the
will
fans
never. I
own
will
his
never
house.
get tired of carrying THT on my
There you
back.
go.
That is my vow
Thank
to
you, sir.
and your listeners.
Thank you. I just hope your back
There you
is
go.
strong enough.
All right. We'll see. I don't know. Maybe I've got a career in MMA.
Hell.
If CM Punk wins, I start my
There you
training
go.
on
Just
Monday.
remember what I just said, dude. Hands up, elbows in. You got a fucking chance. All right.
No, Mike, go to Batista route and challenge like a plumber at the Bellator level.
Challenge a plumber?
Yeah, didn't
Are
the
plumbers
one
like
UFC
good fighters or bad
Are we
fighters?
talking Super Mario?
No, the guy that Batista fought, he was kind of a nobody, but hey, Batista won. Fuck it. Look,
Yeah.
another one you got to fucking appreciate the balls to get in the fucking octagon and do what you want to do.
And Bobby Lashley,
he's-
don't forget him.
He's legit, dude. I wouldn't
Del
want to fuck
Rio?
with that guy. I wouldn't.
Well, you're married, so I would
Jesus
hope
Christ.
not. So, all right,
Gotcha.
guys. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it, man. Definitely.
right.
Anytime.
Thanks again,
bro.
man.
Anytime.
Take care.
Thanks, man.
See ya.
Bye.
See you later. Boxman, let's take a quick break and then let's take some
All right,
calls.
Give
What do
me
you say?
about a half a second here to get the break going. And
By the way, you can join the facebook.com/group/THT podcast every Wednesday right here, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Time on Mixlr.com/THT podcast. Subscribe to us on iTunes, Stitcher Radio, Google Play, YouTube, and TuneIn Radio. And check out Wrestling Soup Thursdays, 9:30 p.m. WrestlingSoup.com. Yakuza Kick Radio, hosted by J. Cat Morris. Check that out, blogtalkradio.com/Yakuza.
all right. I guess that's it, man. Damn, you're fucking good at that. I blew through it in about half a second when I did it at the beginning of the show. But anyway, on that note, quick break. We will be back. Thank you. and see you soon.
I ain't getting paid to entertain you. Got no showers, rocking my ponytail for hours and hours.
All right, we are back. Sorry about that. Piss break. Just consider that a Divas match, if you will. Quick break. We're back. I got Anthony, and I have Tommy on the line with me. Tommy!
I'm back, bro, so deal with it.
Shit. Deal with it, you bitches. All right. Well, since we spent probably a little bit more time than we should have with Mike, but we were just in such a good conversation. How could we fucking cut that off? So basically, I think we're gonna go ahead. We'll get into some quick news. I don't have that much, and then we'll give our backlash predictions, and we'll get the living fuck out of here. All right. So let's get into a little bit of news here. Let's see. Let's start with this. Cody Rhodes. Rumor right now is he is going to TNA, but will not be exclusive to TNA. Looks like they're going to kind of let him do what they've been doing with a few of their guys, the TNA ROH deal. So, looks like Cody Rhodes may be heading right over to TNA. Looks like they're also talking about Wade Barrett might be coming over to TNA. I'm sorry, but TNA might start being, minus Wade Barrett, the show to watch.
It already is.
I've liked it for the past few weeks, Tommy. I ain't gonna lie. I have.
Oh.
Great. Good addition, Tommy.
Well, I just said it is a better show, TNA.
It definitely been, I'm not going to say better, dude. The last couple weeks, I'll say this week for Raw and SmackDown, it's tough. They both weren't excellent to me. They were.
I mean, I'm right there with you, Box. Both shows were kind of like end this week, but once again, just because it's easier for me to get through, and I've been finding myself getting more and more invested in the characters and what's going on, I would just still get an edge of SmackDown.
I think it's because SmackDown just feels like a new show, like it's got new life.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And I think that might be why it's doing it, but I don't know. I don't want to spend too much time on that. But Cody Rhodes definitely looking to go to TNA soon. Looks like he's already been feuding with Mike Bennett, so really wouldn't be much for him to sneak right over to TNA and start that feud back over. So, got a little bit of Alberto Del Rio news, since he's kind of been around. Believe it or not, there's actually a lot of promotions looking to sign him if and when he does leave WWE in, October. Lucha Underground looking to take him back, from what the rumors are saying. TNA, they've already promised to basically, just hot shot the title to him once. Imagine what they would. I don't know what they would do now, but New Japan is also looking at him, and so is Glory Kickboxing, who I believe was looking at him before, and Bellator was also looking at him before. So who knows, man? But I'm surprised. This guy basically left what I could only think of lucrative career on the indies and Lucha Underground to go back to WWE. How could he not see the writing on the wall that he was gonna fucking get screwed? How?
That McMahon magic, man.
Since we're on that story, let me just tie this into one story. According to the Wrestling Observer, since we've been talking about Dave Meltzer, Alberto Del Rio was originally promised a big push and a position as a Paul Heyman guy on screen. The site is reporting that when Del Rio came back, Vince McMahon promised him a main event push, Heyman as a manager, And initially, Vince was treating him well, said he actually, according to Del Rio, he actually got to take some trips on the company jet, sit with McMahon. Obviously, none of that happened. He was not a Heyman guy. He turned out to be a Zeb Coulter guy. But they just said Vince McMahon just lost interest in him. So,
yep.
But again, it doesn't surprise you. He's done this before. He got a huge push, and again, right after that huge push when he was with the company the first time, they started shitting on him. He asked for his release. He made a great name for himself, Lucha Underground, all the other indie shows he was doing. Where was he? Down in AAA and all those places. Made a great name for himself. Then went right back to WWE, and what happens? Right back to the fucking dumper. So, and like I said last year when they hired him back, I see within 1 year he will be asking for his release. And basically he's got an out clause in his contract. That's basically what they say he's going to do. So, God damn it.
So apparently, so let's be honest, like, Del Rio must have just signed strictly for the money, for the paycheck, because if he had the clause put into his contract, he already knew going in what it was.
Maybe he knew this divorce was coming and he was going to need some money. Look, that's a complete speculation on my part, but the rumor is this divorce he's going through is ugly. That's what I've read. So that's not me guessing. I've read this report on is ugly. So that his divorce is ugly. So who knows? But fuck, man. And they're also saying that a lot of websites saying that basically WWE forced Del Rio and Paige to break up. This all has Triple H's name written all over it and shit. I find that hilarious. I'm sorry.
Well, I look at it like, yeah, it's fucked up, but who knows? Maybe they're seeing things that we don't see. Maybe Del Rio, maybe they're like a negative influence on the other one. Who knows?
You never know. You just don't. I guess we'll see. What else I got here? Been talking a little bit. Netflix is redoing Glow. Which Glow, I don't know why they had. It was, if you remember, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling. More of a comedic look at wrestling. I guess back in the 80s, you could have called them, if you want to compare them to a now company, the Chikara, female Chikara of the 80s. That's basically what they were. I've said before, I used to watch this show with my dad and laugh my ass off, so I've got a special spot in my heart for Glow. I know it was horrible. I know it wasn't good, but I was young, and it was something I did with my dad. But it looks like Chavo Guerrero is going to be the main trainer for the show. What you just did is the same reaction I had when I read this story.
That's a question. Now, and this is an opinion show. And look, I'm not trying to shit on the guy. I know he comes from a great wrestling fan, but how in the fuck does he continue to get these opportunities? It can't. You think it's all strictly based off of the Eddie connection? Because whether it's Lucha Underground, he's an agent there. Now he's a fucking consultant on Glow. What in the fuck is seriously?
All right, you could go the Eddie name does have something to do with it. It's been a long time with that. B, maybe he's just a really good guy. Or C, he's so full of shit, people buy it. So, without knowing him, I guess you'd have to choose A, B, or C. Or I don't know. I mean, there's those three. One of the three has to happen because I've never thought of Chavo as a great wrestler. Eddie Guerrero to me was a legendary great in the wrestling business. He was a technical I mean, he was one of the greats in my opinion. You know,
I'll put it to you like this. I mean, Chavo, look, he was a passable. I mean, he was a decent wrestler. I'm not going to shit on his in-ring ability, but he just never, to me, he never had that it factor that Eddie had in terms of charisma. And then once Eddie died, I kind of had to lose respect for him because his whole existence, his whole reason for being, just became like an Eddie tribute. His whole moveset changed to Eddie, to like the Eddie Guerrero
but in
Memorial
all honesty,
Tour.
and I'm not trying to just shit on the guy, but Rey Mysterio did this. I don't think it was Rey's choice, but Rey kind of did the same thing too when Eddie died. They both took on that shoulder shake. They were both doing the fucking dive off the top. But yes, Guerrero Chavo really did.
Look at his TNA run, man. I'm just
he did.
At some point, Rey did go back like being Rey Mysterio, but Chavo never stopped with the whole. I understand that's his uncle, but man.
Trust me, I'm never gonna deny that Chavo still to this day is kind of trying to still cash in off, like his first promo. Of course, he brought up the nephew of Eddie Guerrero. You know what? Shut the fuck up. We know who you are. You don't need to bring it. You're not Paul fucking Heyman, who loves saying is. We don't need to know. We know who you are. Try to come out as just Chavo. Yeah. But I'll say it again. I do like him on Lucha Underground. I do like him on Lucha Underground. So, there you go.
Systematic in the chat has it right. When Chavo comes out, they should just announce him as Eddie's little nephew.
Well, I mean, they may as well announce Tyson Kidd as Natty's husband too. So who cares?
Hey, look. To me, I was always a Tyson fan, but you know when I really became a fan of the guy? When he had the headphones, every time Natty would try to talk to him, he just put on those Dre beats. Dude, it was fucking gold.
I'm actually a Tyson Kidd fan. I really hope the fucking guy makes it back. I really hope the fucking guy can make it back, dude. I do. I don't know if he's going to have limitations, but I hope he can make it back in the ring and still do what he did.
Not WWE. They won't touch him in the ring. If anything, his contract would have to run out. He had to wrestle somewhere else on his own.
Nikki just had fucking surgery on her neck, and they took her back with fucking open arms. They don't care if the doctors clear you. That's what they fucking care about. Plain and simple. Oh, you mean we can make money off him again? Okay, we'll do what we can to try to make money off him. Man, they put him on SmackDown. He's gonna do just fine.
But Nikki, I mean, and both of them suffered brokenness. So I'm not going to try to split hairs and say whose was worse. But you look at their ring styles, though, in-ring styles. It's two different styles.
I mean, first, to go back to your first point, there's no question of whose in-ring. I mean, whose injury was worse. One of them was essentially internally decapitated.
Christopher Reeves to people that want a mental picture of what boxing is.
Most people die from the injury that Tyson Kidd got. So there's really no, there's no downplaying. Sure, Nikki had a bad injury, but there's no question of who had the worst injury. I'm sorry. You just can't fucking do it. Yeah, and plus, like Systematic says, Nikki's got a vag and giant big knockers. So, I don't know what that has to do with anything, but it had to be said. Tit
talk segment. What do you say?
Nikki does have a vag. That is a very, very good point, Systematic. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, so that's our one redeeming quality. Or actually three.
Yeah. So, but I don't know. I hope a guy like Tyson Kidd can make it back because I really think he had fucking definite potential to go further. So, I got 2 more quick things to talk about. One more thing on the news. WWE has filed for the trademark Skull King. They have also filed for the obvious Demon King trademark. This has me, I don't know if anyone else has speculated this, but does anyone else see Finn Balor, Triple H, WrestleMania, King against King? Let's see who the real king is.
Oh, man.
You know what? Yes, I do. Because, like, you know, Triple H, he's the last Attitude Era holdover, right? So he's essentially going to take over that Undertaker spot of being a guy that comes along every year, has that one big Mania match, win, lose, or draw, which, it is what it is.
Yeah, I'm kind of worried that he's going to stick his nose in this fucking demon thing because...
he does. Anything that even smells. Triple H is a fucking bloodhound when it comes to smelling something that even has a remote chance of getting over.
Yeah, and I'm looking on the absolutely. And I'm looking on the trademark site. They really haven't filed any odd trademarks lately. They did re-up on Rhino. Damn it! Dude, Anthony, what was I talking about a couple of weeks ago? They re-upped on Rhino.
Yeah. Hey, say what you want, Ryan. He's another guy. He's been killing it over on SmackDown.
And...
just doing the little things. I don't know why. Rhino's made me a fan.
And I'll tell you what, King of the Ring looks like it's coming back because that's another trademark that they did refile for this year. So, I don't know, man. It could be a fucking weird year in the old WWE.
WWF.
Tommy, it's 2016. Wakey.
But I like saying WWF better.
God.
Sounds better. It does sound better.
Look, it does, but now when you say WWF, you're talking about little furry fucking pandas, okay?
Time of the show was better before you called in.
Christ.
All right.
No, Tommy. I need you. I need you. No,
that sounds so gay.
I need you for the last story I want to talk about. I saved this for last for a reason.
Don't tell me you're going to bury me.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
Sasha Banks was out there the other night, cut a very emotional promo. I believe she even fooled me into thinking possibly she's about to retire.
So for it.
And she made a comment about no more bra and panty matches. And, of course, who took offense to that but Vince Russo? Me. He says the great women wrestlers before Sasha didn't book the bra and panties matches. Ed and I did to help win a war. A war that saved the company. First of all, whatever. Vince, what fucking year is it? Grow up. It's over. You're irrelevant. Then he says, I'm a Sasha Banks fan, but I think she just slighted some great female athletes who performed at top levels while drawing huge ratings. Okay.
Yes.
Are we talking about Tori Wilson, who was basically out there just showing her ass in bra and panties matches? Are we talking about Stacy Keibler, who was doing the bra and panties matches? Are we talking about those women, those wonderful, great, top-performing women? No. We're talking tits and ass. Vince, shut the fuck up.
The way he's saying it.
And honestly,
come on. This guy is doing... It's sad at this point that he's saying whatever he can to stay relevant. Do you think
bro, he gets paid to do it. He gets paid to talk about
when
it.
she brought up bra and panties match, do you think anyone in the world thought of Vince Russo besides you and two other guys who were sitting in their fucking basement in hoodies not getting laid?
Oh, don't tell me that was a cheap shot at the Smart Busters. Come on. Let's open this can of worms again.
I've flat out called them out tons of times. They've even been tagged in posts where I've called them out.
Let's not bring up this again, please.
Okay.
Just continue the story.
No one thought of Vince Russo. Trust me.
That's not the point. The point is...
The point's what?
That,
were there no bra and panties matches after Vince Russo left? You're going to tell me there were none?
Yeah, there was more, which is good, which is what people want.
Okay. So there were more after Vince Russo left. So he really didn't have that much to do with it.
The point is, people want to see that, don't we? Or do we want to see just normal?
Honestly,
that's what offended
in 2016, I can turn on any other network channel and see something more racy than WWE. So I don't
when Davis come on,
care to see it on wrestling. Yeah. You know what, Tommy? It's 2016. If I want to see bra and panties, I have a fucking phone. There's something called the internet.
Or a computer.
I have a computer. You can look it up now. This isn't I don't have to wait for a fucking Playboy issue to come out now to jerk off to fucking Tori Wilson and Sable.
Yeah. Oh my god!
Anybody put it to you like this: anybody using wrestling as a means for pussy is it's a lot more going on there than fucking just Vince Russo on wrestling.
If you're using wrestling for pussy, just stay in your fucking basement. Jesus Christ! I will buy you the fucking 2-liter of Mountain Dew. How's that? Here's a 12-pack of Jolt Cola. All right.
Yeah, this is like 5 minutes more than we really should have.
We're not talking about Vince, bro. We're talking about the women. No one wants to see women wrestle. That's what I'm talking about. What are you talking about? Nobody wants to see women wrestle.
Oh, you're wrong, dude.
It's break, as you say.
I got to tell you something right now. Some of the women right now are worth watching, dude. Sasha Banks. Worth watching. Charlotte is actually a fucking girl who can wrestle. I'm sorry, but I don't need bra and panties on wrestling anymore. Hey, a nip slip is great here and there, but honestly, at this point, at 41 years old, I'd rather see some fucking women wrestle because you know what? They fucking can.
And also, like I said, I'm right there with you, Box. We came up during that Attitude Era in real time, and it was a good time. But part of the reason why it was fun back then is because it was novel. And you didn't see that shit before. You didn't see that shit in the 80s and the early 90s. So when you saw it for the first time in 1999 and 2000, it was novel. It's not novel
Janet
anymore.
Showed a boob, and everyone got uptight. Everyone got uptight because of Janet Jackson's left boobie. God damn it! Imagine if we had seen the right one too.
Uptight about it, the people that didn't see a right boobie, a left boobie, or a vagina. Matter of fact, if you showed them a picture, they couldn't tell you which way it went.
I don't know, but I mean, Vince Russo. This isn't the only stupid fucking thing he said this week.
It's. Bro, you gotta the stuff you say, you gotta really think about the stuff you say. Seriously, bro. You gotta think before you speak.
Why would I think before I speak? I'm on a fucking podcast.
You've never been in a business a day in your life, so you wouldn't know.
You have?
Well, none of us have. So why are you saying these
things? Because I have a show that I'm allowed to express my opinion. Matter of fact, I'm supposed to express my opinions on this show.
Oh, what did I walk into today?
I'd call it the truth. No?
No. The false.
All right.
False.
You're right. More Jeff Hardy fighting a kangaroo. That I agree with.
Yep.
That I actually agree with. More Taylor Tuesday. I agree with that too.
Oh, no.
Oh, Tom. Oh, fuck a woman. Oh, who...
Oh, jeez.
You're sitting there saying no to fucking Taylor Hendricks, but you're telling me I'm wrong. You want to see women wrestle? You want to see?
No, I don't want to see women wrestle. It's gone. Well, there's no point.
Tommy, do you want to see women at all?
No.
Thank you, Tommy. So let's move on, Box.
I didn't say that. That's no fucking David.
I want to argue right there.
I didn't say that.
You just said you don't want to see women. Next question.
Boy, discredit me. All right, keep begging me. Yep.
All right. That was all the new. Where the fuck is Shaheen?
I guess real quick. These are like two quick little news bids. Tommy, Box. Did you read the little article I sent you about the China situation?
I read that. I feel bad for her mom.
So what do you think about that?
Man, that's a tough one.
Well, I guess to give people like a little heads up in case they don't know what we're talking about. Pro Wrestling Sheet, they the first ones that broke the news. China's mother makes an official request for police to re-examine the case of her daughter's death because apparently her manager, Anthony Azello, I might be saying his name wrong, was may have not been completely forthcoming in the details in terms of China's passing.
Okay. To be honest, the death is still a mystery right now. They really haven't put anything out about it. A grieving mother, everyone grieves in different ways. So I'm absolutely not going to say she's wrong for doing what she's doing. It just wouldn't feel right to me to say that, I guess. But I don't know, man. This is a tough situation. You know, I mean, parents aren't made to bury their children, dude.
I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy.
And it wasn't that long ago. And, I mean, look, that manager of hers was the first one to break the story, the one that found her. Anything's possible. Never hurts to reopen something. Let them look into it again. They may find stuff they didn't. They may not. But, like I said, dude, parents aren't made to bury their children. And, you know, to have no closure like that has to hurt. Okay.
Yeah.
You know, maybe at least if she found out, yes, it was most definitely a suicide. No, it was. Just something to make her feel better. Yeah,
just something.
I don't want to get all, you know, downer here and depressing, but it's tough to say what the hell is she thinking? Why should she, you know, why do this? You're just stirring up shit you don't want to know. Because, you know, as a parent, can't even imagine.
I mean, you just want to know. And I honestly, I don't think, you know, a lot of people might automatically assume, oh, this is a cash grab. I don't think that, because I actually read through the article, and the gist of why her mother is asking the case to be reopened is because apparently China has sent, you know, in a Pro Wrestling, she has confirmed this. She had wrote her mom emails saying that she was taking a break from the guy, her manager, Anthony, and basically has sent emails to the effect of saying, don't talk to the guy, don't bother with him, we're on a break. So essentially China fired the guy a few weeks before her death.
I'll tell you what, in emails obtained by the Sheet, and by the way, thank you, Systematic, for posting this story. In the you, Anthony, I'm sorry, you just posted that. Thank you for posting that.
Yeah.
Word for word, China wrote to her mom, the manager stole money from her, so she was taking a break. Added, please refrain from talking to Anthony at the moment. At the time, she was worried about her daughter, Jan, obviously her mother. And again, this is a guy who, I'm her manager, I know what's going on, you know, broke the story of her death, was heavily involved. You know, I don't mean to, I'm obviously I'm completely speculating here, but a lot of people say that the most guilty person tries to inject themselves into the case, unknowingly giving themselves away. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and exactly. Like I said, I posted on the page. I think the guy's a piece of shit from what I read through the thing because, like I said, I don't get the vibe from this woman that she's out for a cash grab because all due respect, I don't, rest in peace to China. I spoke my piece on it infamously a few months ago, but it's not like she was fucking living in a lap of luxury at the end there. So I don't think honestly this is a cash grab on her mother's end. This is just a woman trying to get some answers. And I don't know, like I said, I know that was her manager, but just from the outset, I had my suspicions about this guy because he just seemed too involved. Like, almost like you would have thought he lost a significant other, the way he kind of put himself out there for China. I'm like,
yeah,
dude,
and like
you're just
I
the
said,
manager. You might have been close to her, but what the fuck are you? You more been out of shape than the
like
parents.
I said, sometimes the most guilty of the people puts themselves, injects themselves into the case, so like I said, there's no way I'm going to go against what this mother is doing. As a parent, I can't do it. I just can't do it. Because I'll say this, if anything happened to either one of my kids, I would fucking die to find out what happened to him. Literally. I would put myself to the fucking grave to find out what happened. So I understand what's going on. So I'll leave it at that. I don't know where the fuck Shaheen went. Maybe his power went out again. But let's do this. Let's knock out. We got Backlash coming up this Sunday. So an all SmackDown pay-per-view, and to be honest, SmackDown has been a hell of a show lately.
Yes, and I'm actually looking forward to this pay-per-view. I mean, like I said, on paper, you look at the matches, and if you haven't been following the storylines, you might like, this is a skip. But if you've been following them, this has a potential to be a sleeper show.
None of the matches are that bad. Actually, the matches look really good to me. I mean, you got The Miz versus Dolph Ziggler. No matter what, that's going to be a good match. Both these guys will work their ass off.
Yeah. Oh, definitely. So, I guess, do they have anything listed for the pre-show? You want to do this
right
top
now,
to bottom?
there's only 6 matches on Wiki. No pre-show yet. That's why I'm saying Miz versus Dolph Ziggler for the WWE Intercontinental Championship match. What do you think?
Well, I guarantee Ziggler's going to bump like a madman as always. It's a tough call. Part of me thinks they want to give some rub to Ziggler, coming off the loss to Ziggler to kind of like help reestablish him. Because I think going forward he's going to be a big part of the plans for SmackDown. But I'm actually going to go with Miz on this one, and I'll tell you why. Basically, they've been basically going back to the Ambrose feud. They've been hitting at the fact that Ziggler's the guy that goes out there and he has a hell of a match, but he just can't win when it counts. Something's going to happen where he gets screwed somehow by Miz. Miz slips out the victory, and then fucking Ziggler snaps and that's going to be the start of his heel turn. He's going to turn on Sunday.
That's possible, but I definitely it's possible. But I agree with the Miz winning, but. Dolph basically is a fill-in here for the Daniel Bryan thing. He's basically fighting for Daniel Bryan. But let's face it, every time they give you a little bit of a fucking cock tease with Dolph, they immediately shit on him. So no way he's going to fucking win. If he does, I'll be fucking shocked. So I'm going with...
No, he won't win, but I definitely think that going forward, though, I think this one is actually going to stick. If for no other reason, they need as many people over as possible with this brand split. So I think, like I said, this, not to go off on a tangent, but, just look at the opportunities that have been given to guys that never otherwise wouldn't get it. Whether it's Heath Slater, Ziggler now, fucking Rhino. Rhino hadn't been, last time he was relevant, Bush was still in office.
Oh, that was a good one. It's funny.
Well, God,
2008.
son of a bitch. All right, all right. So, Tommy, Miz, Dolph Ziggler. You got any? Have you been watching at all?
Miz.
All right.
No, I don't watch
so
it. I'll
both.
speak Miz. What do I care? It's wrestling.
Yeah. All right.
What do
So
I
both
care?
of us agree the Miz with Maurice's giant, juicy jugs are winning. Randy Orton versus Bray Wyatt, straight singles match.
Oh,
Orton.
I mean, we know how these shit. We know how this shit goes. Rinse, wash, repeat with fucking a Bray Wyatt feud. Orton.
I want to say Orton, but Bray Wyatt needs this fucking win so bad, dude.
He's a jobber.
Now, but do you think that they might feel an urge to, after they had Orton bitched out last month, to give him some credibility back?
God damn it! You know what? I'm gonna say Bray, just for the living fuck of it. I don't know why I'm saying Bray. I think I'm probably wrong, but I'm gonna go with Bray because he really needs this fucking win, in my opinion.
Believe me, I'm not disagreeing with you, but we would just be, like you said earlier, you know how you go down the road, the same road with Miz, and it's always the same shit. Same thing with Bray. I mean, Bray is Teflon in the sense that, God bless him, the people stay with him. But these feuds always end the fucking same. Always end the fucking... The only feud he won was fucking against Ambrose. And after that, it's just like a Cena, Taker... You know, if he didn't get hurt, that would have been his ass whooping at WrestleMania, and not Ambrose's against Lesnar.
Yeah, I guess so. So, I don't know. I'm gonna go Bray. Let's see. We've got the tag team tournament final for the WWE SmackDown. What is this? Usos and the Hype Bros. Verse.
The Hype Bros.
Oh yeah, this is they talked about this on Talking Smack. Basically, this is like a second chance match, and the winner's going to face Ambrose. Rhino and Slater.
Yeah, and you know, I gotta say this just because you know it's what it is. This is a fucking wrestling show. Yeah. The Usos, even though they turned heel, they still. What the fuck is happening to those guys? They got.
It's wrestling.
One is smelling hair, and the other one is I don't
They got
know.
a grill full of fucking silver teeth now on the bottom, and one of them got tattooed even more. It's like every time they take a break, they get fucking 10 more tattoos. I don't know. Yeah, they turned heel. In my opinion, too late. Too late.
You think it's too late? You think it's too late to be salvaged?
Yeah.
I mean, I instantly, like I said, that was one of, I know we didn't really talk about it, but that was one of my highlights from SmackDown this week. Finally, I feel compelled to care about the Usos, because I'll be honest, I was one of those people that kind of wrote them off for a long ass time ago. I mean, they were still having good matches, and it was all well and good, but just in terms of just like their presence on TV, I was just indifferent to them.
Doesn't this okay? You turn the Usos heel. You leave Roman Reigns, the fucking guy he is, and put him back in the fucking title hunt? Don't you... Let's face it, and I saw the best meme. Hey, you Usos, you've been heel since you started backing Roman. Did you not get it? How can WWE not fucking listen to that?
Now, think about this, though, and I guess, they could always go down this road, I guess, if they wanted to, but how fucking sick would it have been if the Usos and Reigns turned at the same fucking time on SmackDown, and you make them like the top heel faction on SmackDown?
Happened.
That would have been fucking gold, and like, you keep AJ as a face. It just, like I said, I'm just over here like booking, that was off the top of my head, but it's just like one of those things where you look at it and go, It writes itself. I mean, I'm not a fucking... I don't know what goes into being a booker or a creative guy, but it just seems like some things are common sense. You don't have to be you didn't have to work in a fucking wrestling business for 20 years to figure some of this shit out.
No, not at all. So, yeah.
But as far as predictions, I'm going to go with, let me see, the Usos. I can't see. I don't like Zack Ryder. I can take or leave. I don't like Mojo Rawley. So just for that alone, I'm going to go with the Usos. They just turned heel too, so it wouldn't make sense to have him losing their first high-profile match as a heel.
It wouldn't hurt. So, but that match is for the tag team championship. Let's see here, and we've got this 6. Mm-hmm.
Oh wait, real quick. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, Box. So going, if the Usos win that match, do you think they go over Slater and Rhino?
I got a feeling Slater and Rhino are going to take it. I really think
so?
Dude, they've been giving Slater a lot of TV time to just boot him off.
Yeah, that would. Yeah, I'm with you on that.
Yeah.
It would be like the perfect end to the story. Like,
yeah.
They got I'll co-sign on that. I'll say Slater and Rhino too.
All right, so there's that. Then we've got the 6-pack women's challenge elimination match.
Peace break.
Not me, dude. You put Alexa Bliss out there, I'm watching. Alexa Bliss versus Becky Lynch versus Carmella versus Naomi, another ass, versus Natalya, ass, versus Nikki Bella, ass.
Yes.
I'm watching this match.
As far as I'm concerned, with all of that ass in that match, this match needs to be sponsored by Vaseline.
Let's face it, the only one, Carmella's the only one that does not belong in this match. So who do you...
No, all jokes aside, I mean, all of the women in this match, save for Nikki Bella, who has improved, but she's probably the weakest of the bunch in here. But in terms of a prediction, my gut wants to go with Becky Lynch because I really want to see her succeed. She's been shit on a lot by the booking and the creative over the past few months, and she's really grown on me. But my gut is telling me that WWE is going to put the title on Carmella to stretch out this little feud she got going with Nikki Bella.
See, I think they're going to give the belt to Nikki. Nikki, or to me, there's only two people that I believe. I think it's going to be Nikki or Natalya. For some reason, I don't see them putting their eggs in Becky Lynch. I don't know why. They may, and I hope they do. But I'd like fucking Becky or Natalya to take this one. Honestly.
You said Becky or Natalya for you?
Just because it's time.
Oh yeah, and plus I guess there's been these reports. Who knows how true they are that she's going to split once her contract comes due. So maybe they want to give her like a little farewell gift.
I don't know. Yeah, whatever. So all right, we got that, and I'm actually looking forward to this fucking Dean Ambrose AJ Styles for the fucking WWE Championship.
Oh my god. This is so funny.
Tommy, shut the fuck up.
Tommy, the adults are talking. Fuck off.
Seriously, Ambrose is serious.
Yeah, Tommy,
come on. Ambrose, the worst champion in the history of the business.
Oh, you're right. Jack Swagger was a lot better. Have you sucked a dick today? Jesus Christ.
Bro, even Owen Stein's more believable than Ambrose as champion.
Who?
And I hate that guy. Owen Stein.
Owen Stein? Is there a Jewish guy in fucking WWE that I don't know about? Who's Owen Stein?
Owens. Owens, whatever that
Kevin
name
Owens.
is.
How is Dean Ambrose?
Ambrose is just a joke.
Tommy, shut the fuck. Disappear for another 2 fucking months.
Oh shit, Anthony.
Come on, bro.
Easy. All right. Anyway, do you see them? I mean, let's face it. Putting their money in AJ Styles right now would be a gamble. I don't think so. It's playing craps. He's kind of new. He's kind of untested. I think it stays on Ambrose.
He scored every time they gave him the ball. And here's my logic. And look, I'm not like an anti-Ambrose person, but it just seems like whenever one of the internet favorites kind of reaches the top, all of a sudden they can't wait for him to drop the belt. Here's my thing, though. It was never in the cards for Ambrose to be the champion. That much is clear. It just seemed, like I said, going back to WrestleMania. I owe you one, pal. You took one for the team, pal. He basically got the belt as Vince doing him a solid for doing business with Brock at Mania.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a situation. Just the way it came about, it wasn't something they built towards. It just was one of those random things, right? And the way they booked him since shows that he's really had no meaningful opponents, had no meaningful feud that really could main event a pay-per-view. I mean, as much as I like the build up to the match with Ziggler at SummerSlam, that was not a main event worthy match that they ultimately had. So I'm thinking they're looking at, okay, look, Ambrose is kind of like flaming it. He's kind of bombing his champion. Fucking AJ, he's, hit it out of the park every single fucking time. Promos that we didn't even know he was capable of cutting, he's knocking them out of the park. He's proven that he can go out there for 10, 15 minutes and carry a segment. He can literally have a good match with anybody we put him in a ring with. I think they're saying, and plus you have to look at it like this. The mileage on AJ's body is long. He's 38, 39 years old. So with him, you got to strike while the iron is hot. A year from now, 2 years from now, he might say, fuck it. Or he might get one of those, he might get an injury. Daniel Bryan said it a few weeks ago. A wrestler only has so many bumps on their bump card. And you never know when it's going, you never know when your number's going to be up. So with AJ, I say, fuck it. What do you have to lose at this point? Just take a chance and see where it goes. I mean, you can't go any worse.
Oh, no. Look, and you say Dean Ambrose's reign has not bombed. It hasn't. The ratings haven't gone up, but they also haven't really dipped. And you know what? It doesn't really. I don't know. It's just what, Tommy? Tell me what.
The ratings that you can say ratings don't matter. Is that what you're going to say?
They don't matter
say that?
to me.
It's a
Tommy.
TV show, bro. Ratings matter in anything that's on TV. Ratings matter.
Tommy,
ratings matter. If ratings
do you work for USA Network? Do you work for WWE? Do you have stock in like WWE?
Well, I'm not Jimmy Jam, so Jimmy Jam doesn't
So
mean...
there's 3 no's. There are 3 reasons ratings shouldn't mean dick to you. They shouldn't mean... You know who ratings mean something to? Ratings mean something to companies, to stockholders, and to fucking people who are on the board. Ratings don't mean anything to us people out here.
So you say anything that's on TV, ratings don't matter. Anything that's on TV, seriously.
I don't care.
That makes no sense.
Let me break this down to you. I can watch a show that gets shitty ratings, but if I like the show, I'm going to watch it regardless of what a fucking critic says. Everything is subjective. If it doesn't personally affect you, who gives a fuck if the ratings go low, high, whatever? We watch Raw every week. Why? But 1, because we're on a fucking podcast talking about the shit. And 2, because we're fucking
WWE
fans.
really probably doesn't worry about ratings as much as you think they do. You know why? They have hardcore fans. They have steady ratings. They may take a 2-3 week dip, but guess what? They come back. That's why they don't care. All you people out there who think ratings fucking matter, you are the fucking smarks. You're the
You know what's
smarks.
so funny? What's so funny is that they're getting worse ratings than WCW 2000. That's what I find really funny.
Oh, fuck that. No. Tommy, shut the fuck up. We're not going to talk about this WCW shit, please.
WCW 2000's my favorite era.
Hey,
So,
Tommy,
fuck
let me ask you a question. Was DVR around in that era? Could people record the show in that era on their was it?
You tape it in one room on a VCR, and what's in the other room?
A VCR is different. A VCR, you had to still tune in to tape that show. DVR is different. You can be watching Channel B while Channel A is taping it. There's Tommy, it's 2016. the things that used to matter in the 2000s and the 1990s don't anymore. It's time to wake up and realize what fucking year it is. Stop living in the 90s.
So you're saying nobody watches Seinfeld? Come on, everybody does. Let's go on now. Come on.
You know,
when did that show fucking stop airing? When did they start?
But people still watch it.
People still watch fucking hee-haws, so suck yourself.
Tommy, don't get. I mean, Tommy.
People
Box,
still
don't get your
watch
pressure up
fucking
talking to Tommy
hee-haw,
right now.
too. Jesus Christ.
Tommy, go back to jerking off to your picture of Zach Morris. Let us talk about the show here.
Hop in the chat room and talk to Weebs Slater. All right. You know what? On that note,
why do you gotta always bag me? Why do you gotta bag me for?
On that note, I think it's time to
always discredit my good name with these people.
We're
Always.
getting out of here.
Always do.
That's it. I'm gonna fucking sign ourselves out of this fucking place.
This is the end of THT pre-run. I'm gonna make it my personal mission to bring down this show.
Well, that ain't gonna fucking work. All right. Anyway, guys, you guys know you can check us out, of course, on iTunes, THT Podcast, YouTube, Mixlr, mixlr.com/THT Podcast. You can check us out on Twitter, THT Podcast. Facebook, of course, we mentioned it 1,000 times a show. Facebook.com/group/THT Podcast. And, of course, if you want to email us anything, if you want to yell at Tommy, please email Tommy on fucking Facebook. But to email us, thtpodcast@gmail.com. Anthony, anything else, sir?
Just want to plug our show this Friday. THT Movie Review. Very special episode. Not only will we be reviewing the iconic movie Juice, starring Tupac Shakur, we will also be doing an impromptu tribute to the man. Because as of yesterday, September 7th, 1996, it has been 20 years since he got shot, and this upcoming Tuesday will be 20 years since his actual death, and that one is a death that I honestly never got over. Didn't know the man personally, but I was a big time fan, but I still felt like I knew him even though I didn't know him personally. But tune in Friday for a very special episode. Same Mixlr.com, THT Podcast, and just check the pages, THT Movie Review, THT Podcast, Facebook fan page for updates on what time we're going to be starting, most likely 11 p.m. Eastern, as we have been for the past couple weeks.
A special THT after school special. All right.
Fucking right.
Anyway,
I'm looking forward.
Everybody, as usual, thanks for downloading. Thanks for joining. Thanks for listening to this fucking show. Mike Bessler, thank you, sir, for coming on, helping me out, and we will see everybody next week. Later.
Back her ass, my good man. Time to kick back, take some beers, and smoke some weed.
We still love you, Tommy.
Love you.